Chapter 123. So, you want me to lend you a hand? When he heard Bailey Xuanzi and Tuoba Yu's request, Jun Haoyin immediately spoke slowly. He wasn't surprised at all because he knew that Bailey Xuanzi and Tuoba Yu probably had something to ask of him when they'd come knocking on his door. That was how humans were. Who would risk their lives for you if there were no benefits? If Jun Haoyin couldn't bring them benefits, then they would absolutely not seek refuge with him. At this moment, Jun Haoyin had just become the holy son of Langya, and he didn't have any forces under his command. If he wanted to compete with the Xiang Holy Sun, then he had to develop a force of his own. On the other hand, Bailey Xuanzi and Tuoba Yu were both Heavenly Dipper elite disciples, so their strengths were naturally formidable. The thing that Jun Haoyin paid the most attention to was that their disposition could be considered to be excellent, and that was something that Jun Haoyin really admired. Exactly. We sincerely request your assistance, Holy Son. Bailey Xuanzi spoke slowly and he never beat around the bush. Jun Haoyin's strength was obvious to all during the ceremony. Even if he was only at the first level of the Yuandan realm, he could rival Emperor realm experts. Alright, I agree. Jun Haoyin thought for a moment before he agreed. If he didn't give them some benefits, then they would probably be unable to completely submit to him. A trace of delight instantly appeared on Bailey Xuanzi and Tuoba Yu's faces when they heard this. Since the Holy Sun was willing to lend them a hand, then their journey to the Sky Devil region would definitely be smooth. Even though the Sky Devil region was filled with fortuitous encounters, it was a place of great danger at the same time. Even though the strongest Sky Devil in the Sky Devil region was only at the Emperor realm, Bailey Xuanzi and Tuoba Yu's strengths as Heavenly Dipper elite disciples were sufficient to deal with ordinary Emperor realm experts. But the problem was that these heavenly demons lived in groups. If they were facing one or two ordinary Emperor realm experts, then geniuses like Bailey Xuanzi and Tuoba Yu would be able to deal with them. However, if they were to face dozens or hundreds of them, even those peerless geniuses would feel their scalps go numb. The combined forces of Bailey Xuanzi and Tuoba Yu were enough to deal with the typical Skyfiend horde. If Jun Haoyin joined them this time, they would be able to escape unscathed even if they encountered a large group of heavenly demons. The Holy Sun was ridiculously strong. Next, the four of them began to discuss the things to take note of when entering the Sky Devil region. Through the discussion, Jun Haoyin gradually gained an understanding of the Sky Devil region. The Sky Devil region was a special space. In that place, other than facing the Sky Devils, one would also have to face people from other holy lands or great sections. It could be said that the Sky Devil region was a chaotic place. Various forces intertwined with each other without any order. Back then, the ancestors of the various sacred grounds and great sects had built the spatial passageways in hopes that their disciples would be able to help each other and deal with the heavenly demons together. Unfortunately, things didn't go as they wished. After the various powers entered the Sky Devil region, not only did they not help each other for the sake of their own interests, they even killed each other for the sake of some benefits. Every time the Sky Devil region opened, more humans would die at the hands of the human race than at the hands of the heavenly demons. As time passed, the Sky Devil region became a place where the various powers resolved their conflicts. Disciples of opposing powers would attack each other without the slightest scruple in the Sky Devil region. So, Jun Haoyin and the others didn't just have to be careful of the Sky Devil region this time, they even had to pay attention to the members of the other powers. So that's how it is. After he finished listening to their explanation, Jun Haoyin finally understood what sort of existence the Sky Devil region was. The Sky Devil region was like a miniature version of the martial god continent, and it was a miniature version of the battles between the various powers. Even if the disciples of the Holy Lands were killed there, no one would care. The thing that Jun Haoyin cared about the most was that the Sky Devil region actually couldn't accommodate cultivators at the Imperial Dao realm. This meant that the strongest cultivator in the Sky Devil region was only at the 10th level of the Yuandan realm. Of course, this didn't include the Sky Devil clan because their cultivations weren't restricted in the Sky Devil region. This was the main reason why Bailey Xuanzi and Tuoba Yu had come looking for Jun Haoyin. Based on the strength Jun Haoyin revealed during the title bestowment ceremony, he could be said to be invincible beneath the Imperial Dao realm. With the protection of such an existence, wouldn't he be like a fish in water in the Sky Devil region? When he heard up to this point, Jun Haoyin grew more and more interested in the Sky Devil region. When the time comes, I hope the Holy Sun will act personally. When they were almost done discussing, Bailey Xuanzi and Tuoba Yu stood up and bowed slightly once more. Don't worry, you'll definitely be safe with me here. Jun Haoyin grinned and revealed an extraordinary bearing. Through this period of discussion, Jun Haoyin had gained a deeper understanding of the martial god continent. The more he learned, the more curious Jun Haoyin became about the martial god continent. In the past, he'd been born in a small place like Soaring Dragon City, so he knew very little about the outside world. Now that someone was explaining it to him, it would be extremely beneficial to him when he traveled the martial god continent in the future. Now that someone was helping him to clear up his doubts, it would be of great help to him when he traveled the martial god continent in the future. Alright, it's already dark. I still have to make a trip to the scripture pavilion tomorrow, so I won't be seeing you off. Jun Haoyin stood up with a smile on his face. The scripture pavilion in the Langia sacred ground had all sorts of divine abilities and secret techniques. If he wanted to cultivate them, he had to make some preparations. The Holy Sun is going to the scripture pavilion tomorrow? Bailey Schwanza and Tuoba, you were slightly surprised when they heard Jun Haoyin. Yes, what's wrong? Seeing their reaction, Jun Haoyin was stunned. Could it be that there was something special about going to the scripture pavilion? There's no problem. I'm just curious about what kind of divine ability the Holy Sun will be recognized by. Tuoba Yu explained slowly with a smile on his face. Recognition? Did the scripture pavilion require recognition to select a cultivation technique? Hearing this, Jun Haoyin immediately revealed a trace of doubt. Thinking of this, Jun Haoyin immediately looked at Jun Moyo with a trace of curiosity. When Jun Moyo saw Jun Haoyin's expression, he found it funny. Her younger brother was indeed a genius, but unfortunately he didn't know much about the world. However, Jun Haoyin couldn't be blamed. After all, he had only been in the Langia sacred ground for a few months. The Langia sacred ground was one of the 7 sacred grounds of the human race. It had been passed down for hundreds of thousands of years, and its foundation was astonishing. It wasn't something that could be seen in a short period of time. This scripture pavilion has other secrets hidden. Then Jun Moyo explained to Jun Haoyin. The Langia scripture pavilion was the place where all kinds of divine abilities and cultivation techniques were stored in the Langia sacred ground. With 180,000 years of foundation, there were hundreds of thousands of divine abilities and cultivation techniques. If one wanted to flip through the books one by one to find a suitable one, who knew how long it would take? Therefore, the ancestors of the Langia sacred ground set up a large array in the scripture pavilion. The disciples who entered the scripture pavilion only needed to release their own aura, and the cultivation techniques and divine abilities that matched their aura would automatically fly out. Only these recognized cultivation techniques and divine abilities could be cultivated. The divine abilities were divided into minor divine abilities, major divine abilities, supreme divine abilities, and supreme emperor techniques. If one entered the scripture pavilion and was recognized by a supreme divine ability, one could cultivate this supreme divine ability. If one was recognized by a minor divine ability, one could only cultivate this minor divine ability. No matter how high one's cultivation was or how high one's status was, one had to abide by this rule. That was why Tuoba Yu was very curious about what kind of divine ability Jun Haoyin could obtain. After all, no one knew to what extent the Holy Sun could achieve after being recognized by the 9 ancestors. I see. Jun Haoyin smiled. As expected, he was still too inexperienced. However, he seemed to have thought of something and asked again. What kind of divine ability has Xiang Holy Sun been recognized by? After all, the Purple Sun's sacred ground was his greatest enemy in the future. Naturally, he had to know more about them. 5 major divine abilities and 3 supreme divine abilities. Hearing this, Bailey Schwanza spoke slowly with a serious expression. Even Tuoba Yu couldn't help but reveal a trace of envy on his face. That was a supreme divine ability. Even some of the grand elders couldn't cultivate it. Supreme divine ability? Hearing this, Jun Haoyin pondered for a moment. Xiang Holy Sun was really qualified to be recognized by a supreme divine ability. However, Jun Haoyin smiled and said calmly, "How many supreme emperor techniques are there in the scripture pavilion?" Chapter 124. How many supreme emperor techniques are there in the hidden book pavilion? The moment Jun Haoyin's words left his mouth, the 3 people present were shocked beyond belief. Jun Haoyin's words were full of confidence, revealing his determination to obtain the supreme emperor technique. The supreme emperor technique. It was the highest level secret technique in the hidden book pavilion. As one of the 7 great sacred grounds of the human race, the Langia sacred ground was passed down from a supreme emperor. Not only did it have a supreme weapon, but it also had a supreme emperor technique. However, both the supreme weapon and the supreme emperor technique were the greatest treasures of the Langia sacred ground and would not be easily shown to others. Not to mention the other outer and inner disciples, even Bailey Schwanza, a true disciple of the Big Dipper sect, had never seen the supreme weapon of the Langya sacred ground. As for the Supreme Emperor technique, everyone knew that it was hidden at the highest point of the Hidden Book Pavilion. Everyone who entered the Hidden Book Pavilion had a chance to obtain a Supreme Emperor technique. The prerequisite was to obtain the recognition of the Supreme Emperor technique. Without the recognition of the technique, no one could cultivate it. Back then, the Lord of Langya had set up a heaven-defying array in the Hidden Realm Pavilion. Without the recognition of the technique, even a sacred lord could not break this rule. Jun Haoyin's goal was the Supreme Emperor technique. It had to be said that Jun Haoyin's words were too arrogant. At least, that was what Bailey Xuanzi and Tuobayu thought. Jun Moyo was also in disbelief when Jun Haoyin spoke. However, when he thought of Jun Haoyin's possible identity, he felt that it was not impossible. After thinking for a while, Bailey Xuanzi slowly replied, "There are a total of 2 Supreme Emperor techniques in the Langya sacred ground. One is a body-tempering Emperor technique, and the other is a cultivation technique. I only heard of these 2 Emperor techniques by chance. As for their names, I don't know either." At the mention of the Supreme Emperor techniques, Bailey Xuanzi's eyes flashed with a hint of longing. The Supreme Emperor technique was a supreme cultivation technique that could only be created by a Supreme Emperor expert. As a true disciple of Big Dipper, he was considered one of the best disciples in the Langya Holy Land. Even so, without being acknowledged, they would not be able to come into contact with the Supreme Emperor arts. According to the ancient records, the last time someone obtained a Supreme Emperor technique was 30,000 years ago, Jun Moyo said slowly. For 30,000 years, no one had ever obtained a Supreme Emperor technique. I, the Holy Sun, will definitely obtain this Supreme Emperor technique. Hearing this, Jun Haoyin said confidently. With the potential of a divine body, there was no cultivation technique that could resist him. Then let us congratulate the Holy Sun in advance for obtaining the recognition of the Supreme Emperor technique. Seeing that Jun Haoyin was so confident, Bailey Xuanzi and Tuobayu immediately congratulated him. Although they said that, in their hearts, they were worried that Jun Haoyin would fail. How could a Supreme Emperor technique be recognized so easily? Then the 4 of them chatted for a while before Bailey Xuanzi and Tuobayu left the Haoyin Divine Peak. After the 2 of them left, Jun Moyo talked about the Essence Repository again before leaving the Haoyin Divine Peak. Then Jun Haoyin slowly walked into the main hall that he used for cultivation. There were 108 arrays that gathered the Essence Chi of heaven and earth in the main hall. The Essence Chi inside was 100 times more concentrated than outside. In the Langya Holy Land, apart from the Holy Master and the Grand Elder, only the Holy Sun could receive such treatment. Feeling the Essence Chi of heaven and earth in the void, Jun Haoyin took a deep breath and started cultivating. Now he had reached the peak of Yuan Dan Realm Level 1 and had awakened 30,000 giant elephant seeds in his body. His genuine vitality, physical body, and superpowers were all top-notch. For the entire night, Jun Haoyin had been immersed in cultivation. Although he had condensed the divine body, it was a pity that he could not fully utilize the power of the divine body. According to the ancient records, when the saint physique was developed to a high level, one could be reborn from a drop of blood. Their physical body was immortal and indestructible. In order to do this, he needed a divine body refining physique. He needed a Supreme Emperor level body tempering technique. In the previous few times he signed in, Jun Haoyin didn't obtain any body cultivation divine arts. I wonder how effective the body tempering Supreme Emperor technique in the Hidden Jing Pavilion is? Jun Haoyin mumbled to himself with anticipation in his heart. Bailey Xuanzi had said that there was a supreme-level body-tempering emperor art in the scripture depository. This emperor technique was left behind by the Lord Langya. If he could obtain that sovereign emperor technique, he would be able to utilize his divine body to its fullest potential. At that time his strength would soar again. As for the other supreme technique that Bailey Xuanzi had mentioned, Jun Haoyin didn't care much about it. The strength of the hell-crushing divine statue, the heavenly demonic technique, and the heaven-devouring demonic technique were all supreme techniques. There was probably no technique in the martial god continent that could compare to such techniques. Therefore, Jun Haoyin naturally didn't plan to change to another technique. His only purpose in entering the scripture depository was that supreme body-tempering technique. Thinking of this, he threw away all distracting thoughts and waited for the next day. The next morning, the scripture depository of the Langya Holy Land was crowded. Countless outer and inner disciples gathered at the entrance of the scripture depository. For some reason, no one dared to enter the scripture depository. They seemed to be waiting for someone. This made the elder in charge of guarding the scripture depository feel strange. Although there were usually many people in the scripture depository, there shouldn't be so many people in the scripture depository. What was going on today? Did you hear that the Holy Son of Hao Yin is going to enter the scripture depository today to obtain a divine ability? Of course, our Holy Son of Hao Yin said that he wants to be recognized by the Supreme Emperor technique. You know about this too? I heard it from my successor senior brother last night. Otherwise, why would the scripture depository be so crowded today? Recognized by the Supreme Emperor technique? Even the Ziyang Holy Sun couldn't do it. It's not just the Purple Sun Saint's son. Apart from the incident 30,000 years ago in the plaza of the library, there is no one else. That's strange. Where did the Holy Son of Hao Yin get his confidence from? All the disciples whispered to each other. It turned out that they were gathered here today because someone had spread the news. Today the Holy Son of Hao Yin, Jun Hao Yin, was going to enter the scripture depository. He wanted to obtain the Supreme Emperor technique. At first, some people absolutely didn't believe it. However, the more the news spread, the more people couldn't help but doubt it. Was there anyone who dared to spread rumors about the Holy Son of Hao Yin? Were they tired of living? Furthermore, didn't they see that even the 7 hall elders and hall masters had come? Everyone understood that the Holy Son of Hao Yin wanted to enter the scripture depository to obtain the Supreme Emperor technique. It was true. Therefore, the disciples were basically here to watch the show. Some people wanted to see what would happen if the Supreme Emperor technique recognized him. Of course, most people were here to laugh. There were many Holy Son of Hao Yin saint in the past, but none of them were recognized by the Supreme Emperor technique. Could it be that the Holy Son of Hao Yin could do it? Look, the Holy Son of Hao Yin is here. A disciple with sharp eyes looked into the void. Chapter 125. Upon hearing this, everyone turned to look in the direction of that person's gaze. At this moment, the 7 temple masters and elders above the void were also alarmed and turned to look at Jun Hao Yin. Above the void not far away, Jun Hao Yin, dressed in a purple robe, stepped on the void and walked toward the depository of scriptures casually. The purple robe he wore was the Holy Sun costume specially made for him by the Langya Holy Land. It was engraved with the pattern of a real dragon, making him look like an emperor descending to the world. Although Jun Hao Yin's cultivation was only at the first level of Yuan Dan realm, the aura he emitted made some of the high-level Yuan Dan realm cultivators around him feel somewhat fearful. Wherever Jun Hao Yin passed by, a tyrannical pressure would sweep out in all directions. Some of the disciples of the Langya Holy Land with low cultivation involuntarily knelt down to Jun Hao Yin when they felt this aura. Unlike when he left Soaring Dragon City, Jun Hao Yin was no longer the little warrior he used to be. As the Holy Son of the Langya Holy Land, he naturally carried a special aura. The aura of a superior. Carrying the power of luck of the Langya Holy Land, Jun Hao Yin's aura was naturally extraordinary. Welcome, Holy Son of Hao Yin. Some of the true disciples with high cultivation bowed to Jun Hao Yin respectfully when they saw him. As the Holy Son of the Langya Holy Land, he was like a secular crown prince. The other disciples, regardless of their status, had to bow to Jun Hao Yin. However, when Jun Hao Yin saw someone in the crowd, he was surprised and said, "Sister, you're here too. Of course I have to join in on such a lively occasion." The person who came was naturally Jun Moyo. She looked at the sea of people around her and said helplessly, "Bailey Xuanza and Tuoba, you really have big mouths." Only the 4 of them knew that Jun Hao Yin was going to the depository of scriptures to obtain the Supreme Emperor technique. The current commotion naturally had something to do with Bailey Xuanza and Tuoba Yu. It's okay. Hearing this, Jun Hao Yin smiled faintly and did not mind at all. He was not surprised that there was such a crowd today. After all, in the past 30,000 years, no one had obtained the Supreme Emperor technique. Naturally, the sudden news that Jun Hao Yin wanted to obtain the Supreme Emperor technique caused a commotion. Of course, in his heart, Jun Hao Yin knew that many people were here to laugh at him. Even though he was already the Holy Son, the Langya disciples in Ziyang Holy Sun's camp would definitely not accept him. At this moment, the news that he wanted to obtain the Supreme Emperor technique had already spread throughout the Langya sacred ground. If he did not succeed in obtaining the Supreme Emperor technique, it would be a slap in the face. He believed that the people in Ziyang's sacred grounds camp would make an issue out of it. Many people understood this very well. In another part of the void, the Holy Lord of Langya, Tao Xian, and a few supreme elders also looked over. "Holy Lord, do you think Hao Tian can obtain the recognition of the Supreme Emperor technique?" A supreme elder said. The Hao Yin he was talking about was naturally Jun Hao Yin. "It's extremely difficult to obtain the Supreme Emperor technique. However, since Hao Tian dares to make such a bold claim, I believe he has some confidence in obtaining it, Tao Xian said slowly. Hao Tian is such a show-off. A supreme elder looked at the countless disciples around the scripture depository and said helplessly. Every time the holy son Hao Tian appeared, he would definitely cause a huge commotion. In the short few months that he had been in the sacred ground, almost the entire Langya sacred ground revolved around him. Perhaps this was what a genius was like. Wherever he went, he would be the center of attention. The last time the Supreme Emperor technique appeared was 30,000 years ago. Where did Hao Tian get the confidence to obtain the Supreme Emperor technique? If he fails. A Supreme Elder frowned. Jun Haoyin had already made such a bold claim. If he could not obtain the Supreme Emperor technique, wouldn't it damage the dignity of the Holy Sun? That's right. This is too reckless. If he can't accept failure, it might affect his Tao heart. A peerless genius had always been arrogant. If he failed, it was very likely that his future cultivation would be affected. Or even his luck. This was what the Supreme Elders and Tao Xian were worried about. Hao Tian is different from ordinary people. Let him walk his own path. We old guys shouldn't interfere too much. Another Supreme Elder spoke and the others nodded. In the end, one had to rely on oneself to walk the path. At this moment, Jun Haoyin had already arrived in front of the scripture depository. He slowly sized up the scripture depository. It was a tall tower that was hundreds of feet tall and had a total of 9 floors. On the tower, there were carvings of various flowers, birds, fish, insects, and beasts. These carvings were very charming, as if they were about to rush out, and they revealed an ancient aura. Without any hesitation, Jun Haoyin slowly walked toward the entrance of the scripture depository. Welcome, Holy Son Hao Tian. At the entrance of the scripture depository, the guardian elder bowed to Jun Haoyin. Nodding, Jun Haoyin directly stepped into the scripture depository. Without hesitation, he stepped into the scripture depository. Seeing this, everyone turned their attention to Jun Haoyin. Because of the formation left behind by the Lord Langya, there was no need to worry about others secretly learning the cultivation method. Therefore, there was no formation to isolate the soul in the scripture depository. When Jun Haoyin stepped into the scripture depository, everyone used a secret technique and probed the scripture depository with their soul power. At this moment, Jun Haoyin stepped out and stepped into the scripture depository. Buzz. The moment he stepped into the scripture depository, rays of light flowed around him. Jun Haoyin felt a slight obstruction, preventing him from moving forward. Without paying attention, Jun Haoyin let the light flow around his body. This was the identity check to enter the scripture depository. To enter the scripture depository, one had to pass through this assessment light. This light also had another function, which was to identify the disciple's level. The Langya sacred ground had a rule that outer and inner sect disciples could only enter the scripture depository once every 10 years. Core disciples could enter twice, while core disciples could enter thrice. Of course, as the Holy Son of Langya, Jun Haoyin had no restrictions. He could enter whenever he wanted. When the assessment light shone on Jun Haoyin's body, the 9 Langya Holy Sun imprints in Jun Haoyin's energy center suddenly emitted a gentle light. Then, the force that was hindering Jun Haoyin's progress immediately disappeared. Without hesitation, Jun Haoyin continued to move toward the scripture depository. The moment Jun Haoyin stepped into the scripture depository, he was surprised by the scene inside. From the outside, the scripture depository should have 9 floors. But in reality, the entire scripture depository only had 1 floor. Just 1 floor alone was a few hundred feet tall, and it was shaped like a pyramid. The higher it went, the narrower it became, and the fewer cultivation methods and abilities there were. After being slightly surprised, Jun Haoyin began to look around the scripture depository. He was surrounded by rows of bookshelves that were densely arranged all the way to the top. At a glance, he could see from bottom to top. Above the bookshelves, as far as the eye could see, there were countless cultivation methods and abilities arranged in a row. There were hundreds of thousands of books. And Jun Haoyin was among them. Paper books were neatly arranged in a row. This was the first area of the scripture depository, and it recorded all the minor abilities. In the second area, all the paper books had disappeared. In their place were white jade slips. These jade slips recorded all the major abilities. As for the third area, there were balls of light. Although there were few, their auras were extremely dense and uniform. Obviously, the abilities and cultivation methods of that level were the most precious. As one of the 7 great sacred lands of the human race, the foundation of the Langya sacred lands is indeed unfathomable. Seeing the shocking scene in front of him, Jun Haoyin immediately sighed in his heart. Moreover, he guessed that this was probably not all the foundation of the Langya sacred lance. A moment later, Jun Haoyin slowly sat cross-legged and slowly merged his aura with the scripture depository. Countless people watched this scene and waited quietly. Chapter 126. As Jun Haoyin channeled his true origin, a powerful aura suddenly spread out. Streaks of golden qi and blood slowly appeared around Jun Haoyin and gushed out from his body. A vast and terrifying true origin spread out in the sutra depository. This aura did not seem like something a first-level Yuan Dan could emit. Fortunately, there were no other disciples present in the sutra depository. Otherwise, this aura alone would have suffocated them. At this moment, all the disciples and higher-ups in the Langya holy ground were looking at Jun Haoyin. Compared to whether Jun Haoyin could obtain the Supreme Emperor technique, most of them were more curious about whether Jun Haoyin could surpass Xiang Holy Sun. After all, the Supreme Emperor technique was too far away. Xiang Holy Sun had obtained the recognition of 5 lesser superpowers and 3 greater superpowers in the Sutra Depository. Even though these were not obtained on the first try, such results were enough to shock everyone. If Jun Haoyin wanted to surpass Xiang Holy Sun, he would have to obtain the recognition of at least 3 greater superpowers. Everyone was curious to see how far the newly promoted Holy Son of Great Heaven could go. At this moment, Jun Haoyin had already merged his aura into the Sutra Depository. At this moment, the entire Sutra Depository began to vibrate. Then, countless paper books in the first district began to vibrate. Almost all of these books recorded cultivation methods of the lesser divine ability level. In the next moment, all the paper books in the first district rushed out of the bookshelves and headed toward Jun Haoyin. Then, a scene that shocked everyone happened. These books seemed to have gone crazy as they revolved around Jun Haoyin incessantly. Seeing this scene, everyone's faces turned pale with fright. What's going on? Why are all these superpowers revolving around the Holy Son of Great Heaven? Could it be, the Holy Son of Great Heaven has obtained the recognition of all the superpowers in the first district? Everyone looked as if they had seen a ghost. Such a scene had never happened before. Even the faces of the elders were filled with shock. After the initial shock, a bitter smile appeared on his face. The Holy Son of Haoyin's talent was too terrifying. While everyone was still in shock, Jun Haoyin slowly opened his eyes. He looked at the paper books around him without any ripples in his eyes. He did not have the slightest intention of choosing. In the next moment, the true essence in his body surged, and a huge wave of origin qi exploded around him. Immediately after, all the paper books were repelled by him. He disdained to cultivate a mere minor ability. However, his actions immediately stunned everyone present. His mind was filled with disbelief. It was as if he saw the goddess he had always been licking was now licking someone else's boots, and that person had a look of disdain on his face. Indeed, comparing oneself to others would only make one angry. There are only minor superpowers in the first district. In terms of talent, the Holy Son of Great Heaven is still inferior to the Xiang Holy Sun. When a true disciple saw this scene, he said with a hint of jealousy, "That's right. Although there are many of them, minor superpowers are still minor superpowers. They cannot be compared to major superpowers." Another true disciple echoed. These 2 true disciples were naturally from the Xiang Holy Sun's camp. At this moment, when they saw Jun Haoyin's shocking scene, they immediately compared Jun Haoyin to the Xiang Holy Sun. Even though Jun Haoyin had obtained the recognition of all the superpowers in the first district, in their opinion, he was still inferior to the Xiang Holy Sun. However, just as they were thinking about this, an even more violent aura surged out of the Sutra Depository. Jun Haoyin was still sitting on the ground, and he directly exposed the aura of his holy body. Rumble. Streams of golden qi and blood roared and turned into an endless golden ocean. Jun Haoyin directly activated his holy body and slowly merged into the Sutra Depository. Sizzle. The next moment, the entire Sutra Depository vibrated again. At the same time, all the jade slips that recorded superpowers in the second district shone brightly. The dazzling light suddenly filled the entire Sutra Depository. Then these jade slips directly shot out from the bookshelves and rushed toward Jun Haoyin. Then, just like the classics in the first district, they turned into streams of light and circled around Jun Haoyin. In just a short while, all the jade slips in the second district flew out and surrounded Jun Haoyin, kneeling and licking him. It looked as if they were saying, "Cultivate me please? Pervert." At this moment, the guardian elder of the Sutra Depository could not help but curse. He did not care about his dignity as an elder at all. He had been guarding the sutra depository for hundreds of years, and he had never seen such a strange scene. When the disciples of the Langya Holy Land outside the sutra depository saw this scene, they were all dumbfounded. The second area was filled with great mystiques. There were a total of hundreds of superpowers recorded here. Some of the true disciples tried their best, but in the end they could not even cultivate a single superpower. However, these superpowers, which were usually incomparably cold, were now circling around Jun Haotian as if they were trying to flatter him. The holy son of Haotian was indeed a holy body. They could not compare to him at all. As for the 7 temple elders and temple masters, they looked at each other. No matter how one looked at it, the purple sun Saint Sun would definitely be inferior to him. When the Holy Lord Tao Xian saw this scene, he smiled slightly. The holy son of Haotian's performance was always beyond his expectations. I wonder which great divine powers will Haotian choose to cultivate. When a Grand Supreme Elder saw this scene, he said slowly. In his eyes, even if Jun Haotian did not fulfill his promise of obtaining the Supreme Emperor technique. However, to be recognized by hundreds of superpowers was already heaven-defying enough. No, he has returned all the superpowers. Another Grand Supreme Elder said with a hint of shock in his cloudy eyes. What is the holy son of Haotian trying to do? At this moment, everyone noticed this scene. Look, the holy son of Haotian is going to communicate with the 3rd district. The 3rd district contains at least the supreme superpowers and supreme emperor techniques. Is the holy son of Haotian really only after the supreme emperor technique? Some people said in disbelief. They were extremely shocked. They did not expect Jun Haotian to be telling the truth. He only wanted the supreme emperor technique and did not care about anything else. In fact, they were right. Jun Haotian did not want to cultivate superpowers below the 3rd district. Superpowers were good, but he knew that he should not bite off more than he could chew. It was better to cultivate the strongest ones. Besides, if there were more powerful superpowers, would he choose the second best? The answer was, of course, no. Jun Haotian was the same as everyone else. Since he wanted to cultivate, he wanted the best. Then Jun Haotian calmed his mind. At this moment, the aura of his sacred body burst out without reservation. Waves of chi and blood power roared. The 30,000 giant elephant cells in his body roared violently. At this moment, Jun Haotian completely merged his aura with the sutra depository. He began to communicate with the 3rd district. Chapter 127. When Jun Haotian's terrifying aura erupted, everyone could feel Jun Haotian's determination. They knew that Jun Haotian only had one goal, and that was to obtain the Supreme Emperor technique. The highest level of divine powers and secret skills in the entire scripture depository. Everyone stared at Jun Haotian, waiting to see if he could create a miracle. Perhaps, today was the day to witness a miracle? In the void, all the true disciples had their attention on Jun Haotian, and their expressions were somewhat complicated. Feng Xiaoyao, do you think the holy son of Haotian can obtain the Supreme Emperor technique? Dugu Bo, who was beside Feng Xiaoyao, asked slowly. Hearing this, Feng Xiaoyao shook his head and said with certainty, "This is absolutely impossible. The Supreme Emperor technique has not appeared in the world for 30,000 years." Feng Xiaoyao did not believe that Jun Haotian could obtain the Supreme Emperor technique. After all, the person from 30,000 years ago had strength comparable to the 9 great sages and was one of the most talented people in the Langya Holy Land. It was too difficult to obtain the recognition of the Supreme Emperor technique. Hearing this, Dugu Bo's eyes flashed with a strange light, but he did not say anything. The two of them did not wish for Jun Haotian to fail. As the 2 strongest heavenly star true disciples on the Langya Holy Land's Langya list, Feng Xiaoyao and Dugu Bo naturally had a sense of pride in their hearts. When Xiang Holy Sun was frantically building his own forces, the two of them had not accepted Xiang Holy Sun's invitation. After Jun Haotian became the Holy Son of Haotian, they did not express their desire to join the team and remain neutral. To the two of them, it did not matter who became the Holy Lord of Langya in the future. However, at this moment, Dugu Bo suddenly recalled Jun Haotian's unparalleled elegance during the coronation ceremony. He could not help but mutter to himself, "What if the Holy Son of Great Heaven succeeds? Looks like you think very highly of him. If he succeeds." Hearing this, Feng Xiaoyao looked at Dugu Bo with a meaningful gaze. He wanted to say something but stopped himself. "If he succeeds, what will you do?" Dugu Bo seemed to have seen through Feng Xiaoyao's thoughts and asked with a smile. "If he succeeds, I, Feng Xiaoyao, will submit to him." After being stunned for a moment, Feng Xiaoyao said decisively, "I, Feng Xiaoyao, am not ashamed to submit to someone who can obtain a Supreme Emperor technique. Feng Xiaoyao was an extremely proud person. Even though Ziyang Holy Sun had tried many times to rope him in, he did not submit to him. However, Jun Haoyin was really able to obtain the approval of a Supreme Emperor technique. For him, it was an honor to be able to follow such an existence. Haha, I didn't expect you to have the same idea as me. Dugubo laughed. At this moment, the two of them looked at each other and felt the determination in each other's eyes. Although they had been rivals for many years, they were also friends. Of course, they knew what each other was thinking at this moment. Without saying anything more, they once again looked at the Hidden Scriptures Pavilion. Perhaps, the Holy Son of Great Heaven could really create a miracle. However, Feng Xiaoyao and Dugubo did not notice that not far behind them, a man was staring at their backs from time to time with a cold expression. Han Qianhe, the true disciple of Big Dipper, ranked 5th on the Langya list. Although Han Qianhe maintained a neutral position on the surface, he had secretly joined Ziyang Holy Sun. Looking at the backs of Feng Xiaoyao and Dugubo, a strange light flashed in Han Qianhe's eyes. If Jun Haoyin really obtains the approval of a Supreme Emperor technique today, I'm afraid that most of the true disciples of Big Dipper will join Jun Haoyin. Han Qianhe thought to himself and decided that he had to inform Ziyang Holy Sun to return immediately. Only when Ziyang Holy Sun returned could he suppress Jun Haoyin with his unparalleled power and turn the situation around. At this moment, in the Hidden Scriptures Pavilion, Jun Haoyin had completely released the aura of his divine body and merged it with the entire Hidden Scriptures Pavilion. 12 demon god phantoms floated around him. Next, his unparalleled aura directly approached the third area. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The moment Jun Haoyin's aura reached the third area, the white light balls on the bookshelves suddenly vibrated violently. They were the inheritances of 10 supreme superpowers. Seeing this scene, everyone held their breaths and stared intently at the scene in the third region. Even though Langya Sacred Ground was one of the 7 sacred grounds of the human race, there were only 10 supreme superpowers. Looking at the current situation, there were already 5 or 6 supreme superpowers that were violently vibrating. Boom. In the next moment, Jun Haoyin pushed his divine body to the extreme. His entire body seemed to have turned into a golden furnace that could burn everything. His golden chi and blood boiled like 100,000 volcanoes erupting. It was also at this time that in the third level, all the balls of light that represented supreme supernatural abilities rushed out of the bookshelves and revolved around Jun Haoyin like stars. This scene completely shocked everyone. Oh my god, 10 supreme superpowers. Is the Holy Son of Great Heaven trying to defy the natural order? 10 supreme superpowers, this result has completely surpassed the Ziyang Holy Sun. Countless people looked at this scene with eyes full of disbelief. Ziyang Holy Sun had only inherited 3 supreme superpowers so far. However, Jun Haoyin, the newly promoted Holy Son of Great Heaven, had all the supreme superpowers actively surrounded him and begged him to cultivate. In this comparison, it was clear who was stronger and who was weaker. The Holy Lord of Langya, Tao Xian, and the Grand Supreme Elders were also slightly shocked when they saw this scene. But soon they frowned. Although the 10 supreme superpowers recognized Jun Haoyin, the 2 supreme secret skills did not move at all. Obviously they had not recognized Jun Haoyin yet. This meant that Jun Haoyin had failed. Feng Xiaoyao and Dugubo also noticed this scene and immediately frowned. They were a little disappointed that the Supreme Emperor technique could not be used in the end. The Supreme Emperor technique was created by the Lord of Langya. Although the Holy Son of Great Heaven is extremely talented, he is still a little too young. At this moment, Han Qianhe's voice slowly sounded. Behind him, a few Big Dipper true disciples nodded. The Holy Son of Great Heaven should be proud to have achieved such a result. Yes, although he has not been recognized by the Supreme Emperor technique, 10 supreme superpowers is already very good. These people were all true disciples who had secretly joined the ranks of the Ziyang Holy Sun. At this moment they seemed to be praising Jun Haoyin, but in fact they were secretly mocking him. How dare you talk about the Holy Son of Great Heaven? Do you want to die? At this moment, a cold voice suddenly sounded behind them. Bailey Schwanza held the Moxie sword and appeared behind them unknowingly. He hugged the ancient sword and his entire body was like a sword. Brother Bailey, you're here too. Seeing Bailey Schwanza, Feng Xiaoyao and Dugubo smiled knowingly and invited him. Brother Bailey, why lower yourself to their level? Come here and let the 3 of us talk about our recent cultivation realizations. Bailey Schwanza did not hesitate and stood beside the 2 of them. Hearing this, Han Qianhe and the others were furious, but they quickly calmed down. He snorted coldly but did not dare to say anything. these three people were all much stronger than him. In the Sutra Depository, Jun Haoyin slowly opened his eyes and looked at the 10 supreme superpowers floating around him. There was no change in his expression. His gaze was slowly fixed on the 2 supreme emperor techniques at the top of the Sutra Depository. It seems that if I don't give you a hard time, you won't give in. A cold light flashed in his eyes. In the next moment, Jun Haoyin calmed his mind and withdrew his aura. Then he slowly activated the 2 supreme skills. Secret of all. Sovereign's Descent. 2 supreme emperor techniques. At the same time. Chapter 128. Both of them were supreme techniques created by the most powerful. Compared to these two, the Lord of Langya's strength was nothing. Jun Haoyin did not believe that these 2 supreme techniques could not suppress the techniques left behind by the Lord of Langya. With that thought in mind, Jun Haoyin crazily activated the 2 supreme emperor techniques. Then an inexplicably powerful aura surged out from Jun Haoyin's body. He sat quietly on the ground as if he was the king of the world. Waves of powerful energy vibrated in the scripture depository, boundless and endless. It was as if time had been broken and time had been reversed. Boundless light shot out from Jun Haoyin's body. He was like a god descending to the world. Endless energy was gushing out of his pores. His body was like a perfect golden body made of glass. Even a Yuan Dan realm martial artist would not be able to withstand such a terrifying aura. Look, Great Heaven's Holy Son is still trying to gain the recognition of the Supreme Emperor technique. He has already gained the recognition of 10 supreme techniques, and he is still not satisfied. Looks like he won't give up until he gets the Supreme Emperor technique today. Seeing that Jun Haoyin was still going to continue, everyone felt their scalps go numb. If it were them, they would have retreated long ago. Boom. At this moment, there was a loud explosion in the Sutra Depository. A terrifying force sent the 10 supreme techniques around Jun Haoyin back to the bookshelf. At the same time, at the highest point of the Sutra Depository, 2 purple balls of light were trembling. Seeing this, everyone's hair stood on end. Moved. The Supreme Emperor technique moved. Did this mean that Great Heaven's Holy Son was going to succeed? In the Sutra Depository, Jun Haoyin continued to activate the 2 supreme techniques. Buzz, 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 there was a soft sound. Finally, the 2 purple balls of light began to emit a bright light. The light was so bright that it illuminated the entire Sutra Depository. In the next moment, they actually flew out one after another. Just like that, he landed beside Jun Haoyin. Success. The Holy Son of Haoyin had obtained the recognition of 2 supreme emperor techniques. Seeing this scene, everyone turned pale with fright and disbelief. This was a supreme emperor technique. It was a supreme emperor technique that no one had been able to obtain in 30,000 years. At this moment, it actually flew directly towards Jun Haoyin. This meant that Jun Haoyin had obtained the approval of the Supreme Monarch art. At the same time, this also showed that Jun Haoyin had the qualifications to stand shoulder to shoulder with that person from 30,000 years ago. This Holy Son of Haoyin actually did it. Unbelievable, unbelievable. 30,000 years after 30,000 years, someone has finally obtained the recognition of the Supreme Emperor technique. This is a sign of the revival of our Langya sacred land, it must be. At this moment, even the Grand Elders could no longer keep their cool. One was a cultivation technique, and the other was a body tempering technique. Both were Supreme Emperor techniques. For the first time in 30,000 years, these 2 Supreme Emperor techniques had acknowledged a disciple of the Langya sacred land. Even Tao Xian, who was usually calm, looked a little excited. Jun Haoyin being able to reach this step was indeed beyond his expectations. Outside the Sutra Depository, Jun Moyo's red lips were slightly open as she looked at Jun Haoyin with a look of extreme surprise. At this moment she felt a little dazed. She felt that she and Jun Haoyin no longer belonged to the same world. He really did it. As for Feng Xiaoyao and Dugu Bo, they looked at each other with uncertainty in their eyes. Then they became determined. At this moment they had made up their minds. They would follow Jun Haoyin. As for Han Qianhe and the others, their hands and feet were cold and their bodies were trembling. Jun Haoyin had actually obtained the recognition of the Supreme Emperor technique. What should they do? No, they could not let Jun Haoyin continue to grow. Otherwise, Jun Haoyin would soon surpass Xiang Holy Sun. They had to think of a way to kill Jun Haoyin before he grew. At this moment, in the Sutra Depository, a smile appeared on Jun Haoyin's face as he looked at the 2 Supreme Emperor arts in his hands. Then Jun Haoyin probed his soul power into one of the purple balls of light. After a while, a stream of information flowed into his mind. Langya's mysterious God scripture. This was the cultivation technique that the Lord Langya had cultivated. If he could successfully cultivate this technique, he would have a high chance of reaching the Supreme Realm in the future. However, after Jun Haoyin saw this technique, his expression did not change at all. It was as if this technique did not attract him at all. In the next moment he casually tossed the cultivation method back to him. Buzz, just like that, under everyone's gaze, Jun Haoyin threw this Supreme Emperor technique back just like that. He actually looked down on this technique. Why is this? What is Hao Tian doing? He spent so much effort to obtain this Supreme Emperor technique, but he actually returned it. Supreme Emperor technique, that's a Supreme Emperor technique. A Grand Elder's expression changed drastically, and his expression was somewhat pained. If it was a Supreme Divine Power he would not be like this. But that was a Supreme Emperor technique. He could not accept that Jun Haoyin had actually thrown it back just like that. What a waste. Don't be so agitated. Hao Tian naturally has his reasons for doing this. If it's not necessary to cultivate a technique, it's better not to exchange it. Only Tao Xian did not show any signs of anger after seeing Jun Haoyin return the technique. Moreover, he had some admiration for Jun Haoyin's actions. Techniques and divine powers were different. There were many kinds of divine powers that could be cultivated. As long as one found a way to balance them, there was nothing to worry about. However, techniques were different. It was related to a cultivator's lifetime of cultivation. Changing one's cultivation method was equivalent to changing one's path. This could not be done recklessly. But this is a supreme. When the Grand Elder heard that, he wanted to say something. However, in the next moment he thought of Jun Haoyin's situation and immediately fell silent. Perhaps Jun Haoyin and Chu Linglong were the same. They had better techniques. He remembered that on the life and death arena, Jun Haoyin had consecutively used several Supreme Emperor techniques. Thinking of this, the Grand Elder also calmed down. However, even if he knew, it did not mean that the other disciples of the sacred ground knew. Everyone went crazy and everyone was trembling non-stop. He threw away the Supreme Emperor technique just like that and did not cultivate it? What was he trying to do? Could it not be kept? If it were not for Jun Haoyin's status as the Holy Son, everyone would have cursed him directly. As for Jun Haoyin, he did not care at all. With the strength of the hell-crushing divine statue, he did not need to cultivate this technique at all. Moreover, this technique could only be cultivated after being recognized. In other words, this Langya divine mystery technique could only be cultivated by himself. Jun Haoyin could not pass it to Jun Moyo even if he wanted to. Therefore it was better to retreat. Without thinking too much, Jun Haoyin calmed his mind again and looked at another purple ball of light. According to what Bailey Schwanza and the others had said before, this was a Supreme Emperor technique that could be used to cultivate one's body. Coincidentally, this was what Jun Haoyin needed. Without much hesitation he inserted his soul power into it. Buzz. As soon as he came into contact with the Supreme Emperor technique, a terrifying aura spread out. At this moment, Jun Haoyin's consciousness seemed to have left the sutra depository. He seemed to have come to the depths of the starry sky. Looking up he saw a sea of stars. Each star was boundless and there were no poor people here. They were as small as ants. But in the next moment, a terrifying aura gushed out from the dark universe. In the depths, Jun Haoyin's expression changed slightly as he looked at the depths of the universe in surprise. It was a hand and it appeared out of nowhere. It slowly stretched out with its 5 fingers slightly open. Just like that, the boundless sea of stars in front of Jun Haoyin was held in the hand. The endless stars were as small as grains of sand in front of the hand. The hand directly crushed the starry sky. It was too terrifying. This scene was forever engraved in Jun Haoyin's mind. Just as Jun Haoyin was about to explore deeper, his consciousness returned to the sutra depository. At the same time, a message appeared in his mind. This Supreme Emperor technique was called the Indestructible Divine Body. Chapter 129. Indestructible Divine Body? Feeling the abstruse and mysterious information in his mind, Jun Haoyin was shocked. He could feel that this supreme-level body tempering technique was not an ordinary supreme-level emperor technique. In terms of power, this body tempering technique had completely surpassed an ordinary supreme-level emperor technique. Until now, Jun Haoyin was still thinking about the scene he had just seen. That scene was simply too shocking. A giant palm that covered the sky directly crushed a piece of the starry sky. What did that mean? That piece of starry sky was probably bigger than the entire Wuxian continent. If such an existence were to attack, wouldn't the Wuxian continent be torn apart with a snap of his fingers? Such terrifying power and such monstrous means were something that even a supreme-level expert could not achieve. In the Wuxian continent, supreme-level divine illusionary realm experts were said to be invincible. Moreover, there could only be one supreme-level existence in each era. However, all of this was only limited to the Wuxian continent. During this period, Jun Haoyin had deliberately learned about this secret information. He knew that there were 3,000 small worlds in this world. Like the Wuxian continent, each small world would have a supreme-level expert. In other words, there were 3,000 supreme-level experts in each of the 3,000 small worlds. Moreover, above the 3,000 small worlds, there was the legend of the divine realm. Above the supreme-level experts, there was the existence of the heavenly gods. Jun Haoyin guessed that this indestructible divine body was most likely related to the legendary heavenly gods. After cultivating the indestructible divine body to the great completion realm, one's physical body would be immortal and indestructible. However, other than the heavenly gods who looked down on all living things, who would dare to say that they were immortal and indestructible? As for why the indestructible divine body secret technique had fallen into the hands of the Lord of Langya and appeared in the Langya depository, Jun Haoyin had no idea. He believed that this indestructible divine body could help him condense a divine body quickly. Perhaps one day, it would be able to condense his divine body to the great completion realm. He might even be able to condense the legendary divine body. If he could cultivate this indestructible heavenly god body to the highest level, there would be a day when he could imagine the scene in his mind, where he could crush the void with a casual palm strike. At that time, what kind of powerful existence would he be? Thinking of this, Jun Haoyin could not help but reveal a trace of excitement on his face. Then Jun Haoyin put the purple ball of light back on the bookshelf. The contents were deeply engraved in his mind. All he needed to do now was to cultivate properly. After doing all this, Jun Haoyin stood up and prepared to leave the scripture depository. At this moment, the sky was already dark. He did not expect to stay in the scripture depository for an entire day. However, it was still worth it to obtain the Supreme Emperor technique. Then Jun Haoyin slowly walked out of the scripture depository. Seeing Jun Haoyin come out, the people outside the scripture depository immediately gathered. Both the void and the ground were filled with people. Yes, you're all still here? Seeing this scene, Jun Haoyin was stunned for a moment before he spoke. At this moment, the disciples and elders who were shocked to the extreme finally reacted. Greetings to the Holy Son of Hao Tian. Greetings to the Holy Son of Hao Tian. Everyone spoke and it was like a tsunami. Jun Haoyin could tell that these people's voices were more respectful than before. It was probably because he had obtained the recognition of the Supreme Emperor technique. Indeed, no matter where he was, only true strength was everything. Everyone disperse. The Holy Sun is tired today. At this moment, the voice of the Holy Lord of Langya, Tao Xian, rang out in the void. We obey the Holy Lord's decree. Hearing this, all the elders and disciples at the scene turned serious and turned into countless streams of light, quickly leaving the scene. However, as they left, their hearts were filled with emotions. They recalled the scene of Jun Haoyin challenging ethereal mist. It was as if it was still vivid in their minds. It turned out that that was only the beginning of a legend. In the void, the Holy Lord Tao Xian and the Supreme Elders did not come down to disturb Jun Haoyin. They took a deep look at Jun Haoyin, then turned into shadows and left the scene. Haoyin. At this moment, Jun Moyo walked over slowly with a look of shock still on his face. Sister, let's go back first. Seeing Jun Moyu, Jun Haoyin's face showed a trace of a gentle smile. His attitude was the same as before. He did not alienate himself because he had become the Holy Son, nor did he become arrogant because he had obtained the recognition of the Supreme Emperor technique. After hearing Jun Haoyin's words, Jun Moyo also smiled, then the two of them left together. The incident at the Sutra Depository also came to an end. However, the impact of Jun Haoyin in the Sutra Depository was enough to shake the entire Langya sacred ground, and it would not dissipate for a long time. After this incident, Jun Haoyin's name would spread quickly across the Wuxian continent. It might even spread to the other 3,000 small realms. Heavenly Crane Peak. In a majestic hall, Han Chenha and a few Big Dipper true disciples stood straight. Everyone was anxious as if they were waiting for something. Senior Han, what did the Holy Sun say? Is there any news? Zhu Xiangshi Yuan Dan Peak Level 10, ranked 8th on the Langya list. Yes, did the Holy Sun not receive your message? Should we send it again? Another person spoke. His name was Hong Tao Yuan Dan Peak Level 10, ranked 5th on the Langya list. Han Chenha Zhu Xiangshi, and Hong Tao had always been Xiang Holy Sun's most capable subordinates. Xing Shan, a mere earth fiend true disciple, could not be compared to them. I've already sent a message to the Holy Sun. He will appear when he receives the message. Let's wait for a while. Hearing the two of them urging him, Han Tianhe frowned. Boom. At this moment, a purple light was emitted from the token in Han Tianhe's hand. The mighty purple light filled the entire hall. Then Xiang Holy Sun walked out, looking as handsome, powerful, and noble as ever. Greetings, Holy Sun. The three of them immediately bowed and greeted Xiang Holy Sun when they saw him. I've received all the news you've told me. After everyone got up, Xiang Holy Sun spoke. He knew all about the commotion caused by Jun Haoyan in the Sutra Depository, as well as what happened to Feng Xiaoyao, Dugu Bo, Bailey Xuanzi, and Tuobayu. No one knew how furious and shocked he was, and no one knew how much he wanted to kill these people. However, he hid all these things very well. Holy Sun, what should we do next? Hearing this, Han Tianhe asked Xiang Holy Sun. At this moment he felt very uneasy. Jun Haoyan was recognized by the Supreme Emperor technique. In the future, no one in the Langya Holy Sun would be able to stop him. If Xiang Holy Sun fell, they would not be able to survive. It was the same as how a prince would clean up his henchmen after he ascended to the throne. Therefore they could only ask Xiang Holy Sun for help now. I've already made the arrangements. When the time comes, Feng Xiaoyao, Dugu Bo, Bailey Xuanzi, and the others will all die. As for Jun Haoyan, I'll deal with him personally. Xiang Holy Sun said. Although his voice was soft, it was filled with a strong murderous intent. Feeling the strong murderous intent, Han Tianhe and the other two shuddered. Holy Sun, what should we do? Han Tianhe asked again. He did not know what Xiang Holy Sun's plan was. However, it would definitely be a killing move. 1 month later, the Sky Demon region will open. Take my token and meet up with the people from Qingyun Sacred Ground, Luotian Sacred Ground, Jade Lake Sacred Ground, and Yinyang Sect. Then you'll know what to do. Han Tianhe and the other two shuddered when they heard this. They did not expect Xiang Holy Sun to have such a grand plan. He directly joined forces with 3 sacred grounds, 1 great sect, and 4 major forces. This was a killing move. Chapter 130. The Lord Langya was the one who opened up the Sky Demon territory. However, after so many years, the various holy lands and sects had also opened up a path to the Sky Demon territory. And the Purple Sun Saint Sun saw this point, which was why he had set up such a deadly formation. He had been the Xiang Holy Sun for decades and had made countless friends from the various holy lands, sects, and even the demon clan. As long as he gave a call, there would naturally be people who would cooperate with him. Apart from the Holy Sun of the Holy Lands, who else could do such a thing? At this moment, seeing how easily Xiang Holy Sun had set up such a deadly formation, Han Tianhe and the other two were even more in awe of Xiang Holy Sun. With so many forces joining forces to deal with Jun Haoyan, they will definitely die this time. Holy Sun, he said that Bailey Xuanzi has invited Jun Haoyan to the Sky Demon territory. Should we? Zhu Xiangshi said with a vicious look in his eyes. Han Tianhe and Hong Tao's eyes lit up when they heard this. The Sky Demon territory was extremely chaotic and there was no distinction of status. If they killed Jun Haoyan in there, the higher-ups of the Holy Lands would not be able to find out anything. However, Xiang Holy Sun shook his head and said slowly, "You can attack him, but don't kill him. His life can only be ended by me." Xiang Holy Sun's tone was full of determination and left no room for doubt. Previously, Jun Haoyan had destroyed his clone in the arena of life and death. He had to get back at him. We obey the Holy Sun's orders. Han Tianhe and the other two looked serious and shouted in unison. With Jun Haoyan's current strength, he was definitely no match for Xiang Holy Sun. If this plan succeeded, then when Xiang Holy Sun became the Holy Lord in the future, he would be the Holy Lord's trusted aides. In that case they would be the confidants of the Holy Master. In the future they would have a place in the 7 Great Palace Masters. After that, Xiang Holy Sun explained some details and disappeared. Xiang Holy Sun was on his way to the Langya Holy Land. If it weren't for the problems he encountered on the way, he would have returned long ago. Jun Haoyan, when I return, I will definitely teach you a lesson. Haoyan Divine Peak, Haoyan Palace. At this moment, Jun Haoyan was sitting cross-legged with an inexplicable aura surrounding him. Right now, he was cultivating the indestructible heavenly god body. Unlike other secret arts, the indestructible heavenly god body was a body-refining divine art. Naturally, it was extremely difficult to cultivate. The first step of cultivating the indestructible divine body was to nourish all the pores on the skin with the vital energy of heaven and earth. Then it would undergo deification and metamorphosis. After all, there were more than 5 million pores in the human body. It would take a very long time to fully nourish them. If it were any other ordinary person, it would take decades to complete the first step. However, Jun Haoyan was now the holy son of Langya. The vital energy in the Haoyan Palace was more than 100 times richer than the outside world. Moreover, the vital energy in his body was also extremely dense. Therefore, he could complete the first step 100 times faster than others. In just 3 days, Jun Haoyan had already nourished nearly 100,000 pores. At this rate, he would only need a month to complete the first step and nourish all the pores. The indestructible heavenly god body was indeed a supreme emperor technique. Just the nourishment alone had already improved his physical body to the point that it was comparable to a middle-grade magic artifact. If he could successfully metamorphose all 50,000 pores, he would be able to regenerate from a drop of blood. Even if his head was chopped off, it could be regenerated. Regenerating from the flesh was a divine art that could only be achieved when one's cultivation reached the transcendence realm. However, regenerating from a severed head was something that could only be achieved by immortal realm experts. This showed how terrifying his strength would be once he cultivated the indestructible heavenly god body to the highest level. In some ways, the strength of the hell-crushing divine elephant and the indestructible heavenly god body were similar. However, one was focused on vital energy while the other was focused on the physical body. Soon another day had passed. At this time, Jun Haoyan had stopped cultivating the indestructible heavenly god body. This was because he felt that he was about to break through. He was about to break through to the second level of the Yuandan realm. Closing his eyes, Jun Haoyan slowly mobilized the vital energy in his body and gathered it in his dantian. There, a huge Yuandan was as dazzling as a giant sun. On the Yuandan, there was a mysterious pattern of Tao Shen flowing on it. At this time, endless vital energy was surging in Jun Haoyan's dantian. It was like a surging river, endless and endless. The vital energy gathered and rushed into the Yuandan, making it stronger. However, with Jun Haoyan's foundation, he needed more energy to break through. Without any hesitation, Jun Haoyan took out several jade bottles from his storage ring. They were all elixirs. Jun Haoyan picked up these jade bottles and poured them into his mouth. Of course, these elixirs were obtained after he became the Holy Son. There were gifts from the other disciples of the Langya Holy Land, and also rewards from the higher-ups of the Holy Land. These elixirs were basically used to improve one's cultivation. At this time, Jun Haoyan swallowed all the elixirs in one go. Boom! A vast amount of vital energy rushed out and gathered in Jun Haoyan's Yuandan. At this moment, the Yuandan shot out thousands of rays of light. It was like a real sun, extremely dazzling. At this time, the second pattern on the Yuandan was forming. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. As time passed, waves of powerful energy surged wildly. Finally, on the third day, the time had arrived. On Jun Haoyan's dazzling Yuandan, there was a new pattern of Tao Shen's mysterious Tao. In an instant, Jun Haoyan's body shone with thousands of rays of golden light, reflecting the golden qi and blood. At this moment, the golden mammoth seeds trembled and awakened. 31,000 seeds. 32,000 seeds. 35,000 seeds. 38,000 seeds. 42,000 seeds. 48,000 seeds. The mammoth shadows kept roaring. Jun Haoyan's vital energy increased exponentially. Just breaking through one level allowed Jun Haoyan's strength to improve by leaps and bounds. After an unknown period of time, the rate at which the mammoth seeds were condensing in Jun Haoyan's body slowed down. This meant that the upgrade this time had reached the final stage. At this moment, there were already more than 58,000 mammoth seeds in his body. He was getting closer and closer to the first stage of the divine elephant overpowering force. He believed that at that time, Jun Haoyan's strength would experience another qualitative leap. He was looking forward to that day. There are still more than 20 days before the opening of the Sky Demon area. I should stabilize the level I just broke through. Jun Haoyan muttered to himself. The Sky Demon area was an extremely unfamiliar place to him. Although he was not afraid, there was nothing wrong with increasing his strength to enter. Moreover, the demonic essence in the Sky Demon was one of the ways to cultivate the indestructible divine body. Thinking of this, Jun Haoyan prepared to continue cultivating. Cultivation was boring year after year, day after day. Sometimes it was the same for geniuses. After an unknown period of time, Jun Haoyan opened his eyes again. He looked at the entrance of the main hall where a person was walking slowly. Lord Holy Sun, Senior Brother Bai Li and Senior Brother Tuoba request to see you. The person who spoke was a woman. She was an inner disciple of the Langya Holy Land and also the consul of the Haoyin Divine Peak. At this moment, the woman lowered her head and blushed. Her tone was very unnatural. After being in the Haoyin Divine Peak for so long, this was the first time she was so close to Jun Haoyin. In the Haoyin Divine Peak, not to mention the inner disciples, even the core disciples would fight to the death. This woman was lucky to be chosen by Jun Moyo. After hearing her message, Jun Haoyin stood up and walked to her side. I understand. You may leave. Yes, Lord Holy Sun. Hearing Jun Haoyin's voice, the woman was even more nervous. When she left, she almost fell. A true element boundary martial artist had actually almost fallen down. Seeing this, Jun Haoyin smiled and prepared to go to the main hall. Unexpectedly, the woman appeared again and said in a trembling voice, Lord Holy Sun, someone else requests to see you. Someone else? Hearing this, Jun Haoyin was stunned. Chapter 131. Ask them to come in together. Jun Haoyin said slowly. Although he did not know who it was, it must be someone from the Langya Holy Land to request an audience with him at this time. Yes, Lord Holy Sun. A charming smile appeared on the woman's face. She looked at Jun Haoyin's figure and blushed. The Holy Sun is so gentle and handsome. She looked at Jun Haoyin with eyes full of admiration. Why aren't you going? At this moment, Jun Haoyin's voice sounded again. Hearing this, the woman came back to her senses. Her face turned even redder and she left the hall in a panic. Looking at the woman's sorry state, Jun Haoyin could not help but laugh. Haoyin Godly Peak naturally had a hall dedicated to receiving guests. It was many times more luxurious than the palace halls in the mortal world. As the Holy Son of Langya, in terms of extravagance, there were few people in the entire Wuxian continent who could compare to Jun Haoyin. However, when Jun Haoyin walked into the reception hall, 4 figures walked in together from outside. Jun Haoyin looked around and saw Bailey Xuanzi and Tuoba Yu among the 4. These 2 were the first to submit their contributions. As for the other 2, Jun Haoyin was a little surprised. What are these 2 doing here? Although he had some doubts, Jun Haoyin's expression did not change. He walked slowly to the main seat in the hall, looking graceful and noble. Greetings, Holy Sun. After the 4 people walked into the hall, they saw Jun Haoyin sitting in the main seat and bowed. The other 2 people were the best in the Tiangang sect. They were first and second on the Langya list, Feng Xiaoyao and Dugu Bo. In fact, the arrival of Feng Xiaoyao and Dugu Bo not only surprised Jun Haoyin, but also confused Bailey Xuanzi and Tuoba Yu. May I know why the 2 of you have come to Haoyin Godly Peak? Jun Haoyin said slowly as he looked at Feng Xiaoyao and Dugu Bo in the hall. These 2 people had extraordinary strength. They had been first and second on the Langya list for decades. They'd already entered the peak of the 10th level of the Origin Core stage for a few tens of years, and within the Origin Core stage, their strengths absolutely belonged to the top. Jun Haoyin was a little puzzled by the sudden visit of the 2 of them. Bailey Xuanzi and Tuoba Yu also looked at the 2 of them. There was some speculation in their eyes. Feng Xiaoyao and Dugu Bo looked at each other, and a smile appeared on their faces. The 2 of them were also geniuses, so they naturally wouldn't go back on their word. The 2 of them took a step forward and said to Jun Haoyin, We heard that the Holy Sun wants to enter the Sky Demon realm. The 2 of us would like to travel with the Holy Sun. Bailey Xuanzi and Tuoba Yu narrowed their eyes. Feng Xiaoyao's words had a deep meaning. That's right. The demonic aura in the Sky Demon realm is one of the important methods for Yuan Dan to enter the Imperial Dao realm. The 2 of us would like to ask the Holy Sun for help. Dugu Bo stepped forward as well and his tone was very serious. Their objective was actually the same as Bailey Xuanzi and Tuoba Yu. Brother Feng, Brother Dugu, the 2 of you have broken through to the 10th level of Yuan Dan realm for more than 10 years. I'm afraid that even without the Holy Sun's help, the 2 of you should be about to break through to the Imperial Dao realm. Before Jun Haoyin could speak, Bailey Xuanzi had already spoken. With Feng Xiaoyao and Dugu Bo's status, if they asked Jun Haoyin for help, it would only be a matter of time. It was undoubtedly an expression of their attitude. And that was to submit to the Holy Sun. Feng Xiaoyao and Dugu Bo's statuses in the Langya Holy Land were extraordinary. As the 2 strongest cultivators on the Langya rankings, if they submitted to the Holy Sun, it would undoubtedly be of great help to the Holy Sun. From then on, Jun Haoyin's forces in the Langya Holy Land would be sufficient to rival the Xiang Holy Sun. That's right. Give me some time and I'll be able to break through to the Imperial Dao realm. I'll be frank. I, Feng Xiaoyao, have come here today to contribute to the Holy Sun. Feng Xiaoyao didn't intend to beat around the bush, and he spoke frankly. The Holy Sun has obtained the acknowledgement of a supreme emperor art. I, Feng Xiaoyao, am impressed by such talent, and I'm willing to submit to the Holy Sun. That's right. I, Dugu Bo, believe that the Holy Sun will definitely be able to lead the Langya Holy Land to greater heights and bring the Langya Holy Land to the peak. After Feng Xiaoyao finished speaking, Dugu Bo took a step forward and spoke directly. Hearing this, Bailey Xuanza and Tuoba, you were instantly shocked. The first and second on the Langya rankings had actually submitted to the Holy Sun of Haotian. If this news were to spread, it would definitely set off a huge wave in the Langya Holy Land. However, Bailey Xuanza and Tuoba, you didn't speak. Instead, they looked at Jun Haotian. All decisions still depended on Jun Haotian's intentions. In fact, Jun Haotian was very surprised when he heard their words. He didn't expect that just because he had obtained the acknowledgement of a supreme emperor art, the two of them would directly submit to him. What an unexpected gain. After having been in the Langya Holy Land for so long, he had some understanding of the two of them. Feng Xiaoyao and Dugu Bo were dedicated to cultivation and pursuing the position of the Holy Sun, as well as to obtain better resources. The two of them had good temperaments. In the face of Xiang Holy Sun's repeated attempts to rope them in, they still maintained a neutral stance. In short, just like Bailey Xuanza and the others, they were trustworthy people. Thinking of this, Jun Haotian slowly got up with a gentle smile on his face. I, Jun Haotian, am honored to have received the acknowledgement of the two of you. Let's go to the Sky Demon region together. Jun Haotian's words undoubtedly indicated that he agreed to the two of them joining. After hearing this, Feng Xiaoyao and Dugu Bo's eyes immediately lit up. Without any hesitation, they bowed again. Thank you, Holy Sun, for your appreciation. The two of them appeared to be very respectful, and they were sincere. Although Jun Haotian's strength was not as strong as theirs at the moment, he had received the acknowledgement of the Supreme Emperor technique. It was only a matter of time before he surpassed them. Jun Haotian was very likely to step into the Supreme Realm in the future. To be able to follow such a person, Feng Xiaoyao and Dugu Bo felt honored. Aha, welcome Brother Feng and Brother Dugu. From now on we are all on the same side. Bailey Xuanza was very happy to see that the two of them had been added. He said, next, let's discuss the specific actions in the Sky Demon region. After that, the few of them sat in the main hall and decided on the action plan after entering the Sky Demon region. The Sky Demon region was full of the Sky Demon clan. The Sky Demons were a clan that lived in groups. Every time they appeared, there would be thousands of them. Most importantly, in the Sky Demon region, they could not absorb the vital energy of heaven and earth to recover their vital energy. In the Sky Demon region, the vital energy was mixed with dense demon chi. Humans did not dare to absorb it at all. If they forcefully absorbed it into the body, it was very likely to hurt themselves and go berserk. Therefore, the danger level of the Sky Demon region was much higher than imagined. As such, they naturally needed to plan well. Not only that, they also had to prepare treasures to store fiend essence. Inside, they could not directly refine fiend essence. In short, there were a lot of things that had to be prepared. It was also at this time that Jun Haotian began to truly understand the Sky Demon region. It was not the first time that Feng Xiaoyao, Dugu Bo, and the rest went to the Sky Demon region, so they understood it very well. Very soon, everyone discussed many matters. For them, what they had to do after that was to wait for the Sky Demon region to open. After everything was done, they prepared to start preparing to leave. But at this time, Feng Xiaoyao thought of something. He hesitated for a moment but still said, Holy Sun, you have to pay attention to Jun Moyo? Chapter 132. What do you mean? Hearing Feng Xiaoyao's words, Jun Haotian frowned and said unhappily, Holy Sun, I've offended you. Feng Xiaoyao saw Jun Haotian's expression and bowed. Now that he had decided to follow Jun Haotian, he was Jun Haotian's subordinate. As a subordinate, it was indeed rude to rashly ask about his master's private affairs. Alright, if you have anything to say, just say it. Don't beat around the bush. Jun Haotian waved his hand and said to Feng Xiaoyao, Holy Sun, if I may ask, is there anything special about Jun Moyo since she was a child? Do you know anything about her background and her constitution? After organizing his words, Feng Xiaoyao said slowly, There's nothing special about her. Hearing this, Jun Haotian frowned and said directly, Is that so? Feng Xiaoyao's eyes were a little puzzled. Could it be that you've discovered something wrong? Seeing Feng Xiaoyao's expression, Jun Haotian's tone suddenly became cold. He was obviously a little angry. In Jun Haotian's eyes, Jun Moyo was now the closest person to him. He also believed that Jun Moyo would not have any problems. If Feng Xiaoyao dared to create rumors and create trouble, Jun Haoyin would not mind killing him even if he submitted to him. No one could harm the people he approved of. Holy Sun, please forgive me. I just wanted to say that Jun Moyo should have some secrets. I heard that Xiang Holy Sun had designs on her 10 years ago. If not for the Supreme Elder stopping him, I'm afraid that Jun Moyo would have been taken away by Xiang Holy Sun. Feng Xiaoyao told him everything he knew. Since he had decided to submit to the Holy Sun of Haoyin, he felt that he should not hide anything. When Jun Haoyin heard what Feng Xiaoyao said, a cold light flashed in his eyes. 10 years ago? Wasn't that when his sister had just entered the Langya sacred land? At that time, Xiang Holy Sun was so high and mighty that he would never pay attention to a new disciple. Suddenly, Jun Haoyin recalled that when he first entered the Langya sacred land, Xing Shan seemed to be trying to win over his sister. Was all of this a coincidence? It shouldn't be that simple. Do you know anything else? Jun Haoyin looked at Feng Xiaoyao and asked. His intuition told him that Xiang Holy Sun was up to something. That's all I know. I'm only telling you this to remind the Holy Sun. Feng Xiaoyao shook his head and explained, with your strength and status, you might not be afraid of Xiang Holy Sun, but if Xiang Holy Sun were to lay his hands on Jun Moyo, Feng Xiaoyao voiced his concern. Jun Haoyin was already the Langya Holy Sun. Even Xiang Holy Sun would not dare to harm him. However, it was different for Jun Moyo. Although she was close to the Holy Sun of Haoyin, ultimately she was just a true disciple of the Earth Emanations echelon. I understand now. Hearing this, Jun Haoyin suddenly spoke. At this moment, vigilance had arisen in Jun Haoyin's heart. If Xiang Holy Sun really had ill intentions towards Big Sister, then wouldn't Big Sister be in extreme danger? Looks like Xiang Holy Sun isn't as simple as I thought. As for whether Jun Moyo was hiding any secrets, Jun Haoyin wasn't interested in finding out. If Jun Moyo wanted to tell him, then he would naturally say that he was hiding a secret as well. Then Holy Sun, I'll be taking my leave first. Let's meet again when the Sky Devil region opens. Feng Xiaoyao spoke to Jun Haoyin. They were preparing to break through to the Imperial Dao realm this time, so they naturally had to make sufficient preparations before they entered the Sky Devil region. Alright, all of you can leave first. Jun Haoyin nodded and allowed them to leave. After Feng Xiaoyao and the others left, Jun Haoyin returned to the cultivation hall by himself. He could only put the matter of Jun Moyo aside for now. Everything would turn out right in the end. It was fine so long as he continued to improve his strength and protect Big Sister. The day would come when he would know all the answers. When he thought up to here, Jun Haoyin discarded all distracting thoughts and started to think about heading to the Sky Devil region. The Sky Devil region was a place where heavenly devils roamed freely while devilish energy surged into the sky. The strength of the hell-crushing god mammoth that he cultivated was said to be able to suppress hell. Coupled with the heaven-gorging demonic art, wouldn't he be like a fish in water in a place like the Sky Devil region? So, he had an advantage over everyone else, and it was that he didn't fear the consumption of true essence. Of course, this didn't mean that he could run amok in the Sky Devil region. It was impossible for the disciples of the various holy grounds and sects to not have any trump cards, so he absolutely couldn't let his guard down. His current strength was sufficient to be called invincible beneath the Imperial Dao realm. If he utilized the might of the Sunslayer Divine Bow, he would probably be able to kill even Imperial Dao realm experts. However, his biggest enemy in the Sky Devil region was still the horde of heavenly demons. When he thought of the horde of heavenly demons, Jun Haoyin couldn't help but think of the devil essence in their bodies. Devil essence was a great help in cultivating the indestructible heavenly godly body. Perhaps this trial would be an opportunity for him to cultivate the indestructible heavenly godly body. Unfortunately, he lacked a treasure that could store devil essence. Devil essence was an energy that was completely different from heaven and earth origin energy. Especially when it couldn't be stored, it couldn't exist for too long. However, with his status as the Holy Sun, it shouldn't be difficult for him to obtain such a thing. Right now, the most important thing for him was to improve his strength. In the following days, Jun Haoyin prepared to wholeheartedly cultivate in seclusion. Currently, his strength had reached the peak of the second level of the Yuandan realm. As long as he had enough energy, he could immediately break through to the third level of the Yuandan realm. Without hesitation, Jun Haoyin calmed his mind once again. At this time, he had completely mobilized all the energy in his body. The strength of the hell-crushing divine elephant, the indestructible heavenly godly body. The art of yin-yang nirvana, the art of heavenly fiend god, the secret character of all, the Sovereign's Descent, the demonic heaven-devouring skill, and many other terrifying techniques and abilities. This was the first time Jun Haoyin had used all his energy for cultivation. Rumble. All the energy exploded. Jun Haoyin closed his eyes and controlled the energy in his body. The golden blood roared and turned into a furnace. It was as if 100,000 volcanoes were surging. All the divine abilities and cultivation methods merged into one and were thrown into the furnace like nourishment. Rumble. A vast amount of energy rushed out like thousands of thunderbolts. A Yuan Dan was suspended above the furnace. The cultivation process of the Yuan Dan realm was to draw the energy in one's body and refine the Yuan Dan. At the same time, Jun Haoyin didn't stop cultivating other techniques and abilities. Fortunately, he was strong enough to multitask. Just like this, time passed little by little. For an entire half a month, Jun Haoyin had been cultivating in silence. On this day, a terrifying energy erupted from his body. An elemental core emitted an endless amount of brilliance. Jun Haoyin had broken through again. On the Yuan Dan, the third heaven and earth pattern was born. It was also at this moment. The ancient mammoth seed in Jun Haoyin's body turned into a golden ocean. And this time he had a breakthrough. He had completely pushed the strength of the hell-crushing divine elephant to the first level. Chapter 133. At this moment, even Jun Haoyin couldn't help but feel excited. He had been looking forward to this day for a very long time. After reaching the first stage of the strength of the hell-crushing divine elephant, he would be able to directly obtain a heavenly technique. More importantly, his strength would greatly increase because of this. Thinking of this, Jun Haoyin calmed his mind and once again channeled a vast amount of energy into the Yuan Dan. Boom! After a moment, a roar sounded. A vast amount of true energy surged from Jun Haoyin's dantian like a boiling wave. At the same time, an abstruse and mysterious power of the heavens and earth slowly appeared on Jun Haoyin's Yuan Dan, the third heaven and earth pattern. At this moment, Jun Haoyin had officially stepped into the third stage of the Yuan Dan stage. At this moment, Jun Haoyin's body seemed to have broken some kind of shackle. Buzz. An ancient and vast sound of the great Tao resounded within Jun Haoyin's body. When the third heaven and earth pattern appeared on Jun Haoyin's Yuan Dan, a golden light flashed. The immemorial mammoth seeds in Jun Haoyin's body were rapidly awakening. 60,000 seeds. 62,000 seeds. 65,000 seeds. 69,000 seeds. 72,000 seeds. 78,000 seeds. As the immemorial mammoth seeds awakened one by one, the shadow of a mammoth appeared above Jun Haoyin's head. An earth-shattering roar suddenly resounded in the main hall. If it weren't for the protection of the formation, the Haoyin godly peak outside would have been crushed by these mammoth shadows. How could the immemorial mammoths who had the ability to suppress hell forever be so simple? As the number of immemorial mammoth seeds in his body increased, Jun Haoyin's aura became stronger and more terrifying. Vast and boundless power surged within his body, and a terrifying pressure circulated around him. At this moment, every pore on Jun Haoyin's body was breathing in and exhaling a vast amount of heaven and earth essence. Even the indestructible heavenly god body, which he had cultivated not long ago, was quietly undergoing a huge change at this moment. If Jun Haoyin didn't possess a saint physique that allowed him to possess a peerless physical body, then such terrifying and violent energy would have been sufficient to cause a peak Yuan Dan realm expert or even a monarch realm expert to explode apart. Finally, at a certain moment, Jun Haoyin had already awakened 84,000 mammoth seeds in his body. Roar, 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 dense phantoms of giant elephants filled the sky, and their roars shook the heavens and the earth, as if they wanted to suppress the 9 heavens beneath their feet. Waves of vast and boundless energy erupted, shocking everyone's hearts. At the same time, in Jun Haoyin's mind, a pitch-black divine spear with a hellish aura slowly took shape. This divine spear was surrounded by billions of dead living beings. They were intertwined with each other, bringing with them an endless amount of blood. Pitch-black lightning flowed around the divine spear. It was like a terrifying scene from hell, constantly attacking those evil creatures. All of this formed a peerless hellish scene. At this moment, after Jun Haoyin had condensed this divine spear, his entire body had turned into a hellish god, dominating everything. It was as if all evil forces had to submit to him. This divine spear was the first heavenly technique condensed from the first stage of the strength of the hell-crushing divine elephant. The spear of the underworld deity. When the spear of the underworld deity was condensed, even Jun Haoyin himself was shocked. The evil aura on it was too dense and terrifying. He had a feeling that his unparalleled saint physique wouldn't be able to withstand the attack of this spear of the underworld deity and would be directly pierced through. This was the true divine spear from hell. Could kill gods and slay immortals. However, the changes in Jun Haoyan's body were just the beginning. Jun Haoyan's strength of the hell-crushing god mammoth was in the consummate level, and that wasn't the only thing that had changed him. An incomparably terrifying power poured into Jun Haoyan's Yuan Dan. In just a moment, Jun Haoyan broke through the third stage of Yuan Dan and reached the peak of the third stage of Yuan Dan. However, it wasn't over yet. Jun Haoyan's cultivation was still rapidly increasing. The fourth vein of heaven and earth was formed. Jun Haoyan broke through to the fourth stage of golden core. The fifth vein of heaven and earth was formed. Jun Haoyan broke through to the fifth stage of golden core. The sixth vein of heaven and earth was formed. Jun Haoyan broke through to the sixth stage of Yuan Dan. The seventh vein of heaven and earth was formed. Jun Haoyan broke through to the seventh stage of Yuan Dan. The eighth vein of heaven and earth was formed. Jun Haoyan broke through to the eighth stage of Yuan Dan. After breaking through the first stage of the strength of the hell-crushing divine elephant, Jun Haoyan directly jumped 5 stages from the third stage of Yuan Dan to the peak of the eighth stage of Yuan Dan. If it were an ordinary person, it would probably take hundreds of years just to break through these 5 stages. However, Jun Haoyan did it in an instant. Following Jun Haoyan's breakthrough, the giant elephant seeds in his body were also rapidly awakening. In almost every breath of time, thousands of giant elephant seeds were awakening. After a day and a night, the number of giant elephant seeds in Jun Haoyan's body had reached 108,000. The true yuan contained within these 100,000 giant elephant seeds was enough to shake the heavens and earth. Moreover, Jun Haoyan estimated that his limit in the 8th stage of Yuan Dan should be 200,000 giant elephant seeds. At this moment he was still far from reaching that limit. The first stage of the strength of the hell-crushing divine elephant brought shocking changes to Jun Haoyan. Not only did it allow his cultivation to improve by leaps and bounds, it also allowed Jun Haoyan to form a terrifying divine ability like the underworld deity spear. Jun Haoyan was confident that even without the sun-slaying divine bow, he could kill an imperial Dao realm cultivator with his own strength. In addition, his cultivation of the indestructible heavenly god body had also made great progress. At this moment he had reached the condition to nourish all 5 million of his pores. In terms of his physical body he had taken a huge step forward. The strength of his physical body had already reached the level of a mid-grade magical item. From now on, the indestructible heavenly god body's magical effects would be gradually revealed. Moreover, when Jun Haoyan cultivated to the transcendent stage, he would be able to form a Dharma idol. At that time the holy body would show its strongest side. The Dharma idol formed by the holy body would be able to burn the sky, boil the sea and move the stars. At that time he would be truly invincible. At that time, even a supreme-grade magical item would not be able to touch Jun Haoyan. Feeling the majestic power in his body, Jun Haoyan was full of confidence. It would not be long before he could reach that level. One day he would reach the peak of the martial god continent. At that time he would be able to roam the 3,000 small worlds. However, Jun Haoyan was not arrogant. There were still many experts in this world. Not to mention peerless geniuses like Chu Linglong. Xiang Holy Sun was enough to make him be careful. After all, Xiang Holy Sun was also a genius. Without thinking too much, Jun Haoyan threw away all distracting thoughts. There are still 3 days before the opening of the Sky Devil region. I should take advantage of this time to stabilize my cultivation. Ding! The check-in time has been refreshed. Would the host like to check in? Chapter 134. Hearing the system prompt in his mind, Jun Haoyan was overjoyed and hurriedly said, "Sign in." Congratulations to the host for signing in successfully. You have obtained the exquisite pagoda. After the system's voice sounded, Jun Haoyan's eyes lit up. It was actually the legendary exquisite pagoda. This treasure had a total of 2 functions. One was defense. When in danger, he only needed to activate the exquisite pagoda to hang above his head and it could form a protective shield, enveloping Jun Haoyan inside and making him invulnerable. Regarding this treasure, Jun Haoyan could be considered to be very familiar with it. As for the other function, it was suppression. Suppressing all evil spirits. When this pagoda was refined, it was integrated with the legendary power of merit. This power of merit specialized in suppressing evil spirits. It could be said that this exquisite pagoda could be called the nemesis of evil spirits. Previously, Jun Haoyin was still thinking about what treasure to use to collect the demonic aura in the heavenly demon's body. Now that he had the exquisite pagoda, he didn't have to worry at all. Using this exquisite pagoda that contained the power of merit to collect the demonic aura was the most suitable. One had to know that the chi of merit contained in the exquisite pagoda could not only suppress but also refine the demonic aura. Therefore, after Jun Haoyin collected the demonic aura, he could refine it, extract the essence and remove the dregs. The demonic aura obtained in this way would be purer and more useful. Looking at the exquisite pagoda in his hand, a smile appeared on Jun Haoyin's face. What he wanted really came true. With this exquisite pagoda, he could enter the heavenly demon region without any worries. He only needed to let go of his hands and feet and wantonly slaughter the heavenly demons. With enough demonic aura, he could use it to improve his cultivation and temper his physique. In short, the opening of the heavenly demon region this time was an opportunity for him to become stronger again. Thinking of this, Jun Haoyin shook his head and threw away all the distracting thoughts in his heart. He directly put the exquisite pagoda into his dantian and then closed his eyes to cultivate. Before the opening of the heavenly demon region, he needed to strengthen his vital essence, physical body and so on to the peak. This way he could deal with all crises. On this day, the central square of the Langya Holy Land was packed with people, just like the Holy Sun's coronation ceremony. However, unlike the crowning ceremony, most of the Langya Holy Land disciples gathered in the central square were pro-disciples and core disciples. As for the other inner and outer disciples, they were just here to watch the show. Time really flies. It's time for the decennial opening of the Sky Devil region again. I believe that many elite senior brothers will be able to obtain enormous benefits from the Sky Devil region and break through into the Imperial Dao realm. I'm afraid that even the top 10 of the Langya role might be able to participate. However, I heard that the Holy Son of Haoyin will also be participating this time. Yes, I also heard that the Holy Son of Great Heaven has formed an alliance with a few of the true disciples of the Celestial Stars Array. Voices kept ringing out from the crowd as they kept discussing what had happened in the Sky Devil region. The Sky Devil area, which opened once every 10 years, was a big event for the Langya Sacred Land. At this moment, many people naturally came to join in the fun. In the sky, several figures with terrifying auras gathered together. At this moment, Feng Xiaoyao, Dugu Bo, Bailey Xuanza, and Tuoba Yu were floating in the sky. Powerful true origin fluctuations formed a terrifying field. Behind them, Han Tianhe and the others looked at them with sneers in their eyes from time to time. Boom. At this moment, a rumbling sound came from the sky. Everyone looked at the sky and saw a dazzling beam of divine light shooting towards them at an extremely fast speed. Countless people who saw this scene all bowed respectfully. Welcome, Holy Son of Haoyin. In the next moment, the divine light arrived and revealed its true appearance. It was naturally Jun Haoyin. At this moment, he was dressed in a purple robe and looked at the people below with an indifferent expression. After breaking through to the 8th level of the Yuandan realm, Jun Haoyin's aura was even more terrifying than before. Everyone was shocked when they felt the pressure rising from Jun Haoyin's body. This Holy Son of Haoyin's strength had increased tremendously in just a month. As expected of a holy body, as expected of a peerless genius. Haoyin. Jun Moyo stood beside Jun Haoyin with a smile on her face. After seeing her, Jun Haoyin was slightly surprised. Sister, you broke through to the 7th level of the Yuandan realm? Jun Haoyin was surprised. The last time Jun Moyo was only at the 5th level of the Yuandan realm. Breaking through 2 levels in a month could be considered very powerful. That's right. You've become the Holy Son. If my cultivation is too slow, I won't be able to keep up with your footsteps. Jun Moyo said with a smile. Hearing this, Jun Haoyin smiled and did not say anything. Then the two of them stood in front of the crowd. Buzz. Just as Jun Haoyin was in position, there was an explosion in the void. Then, 7 pillars of light shot into the sky from various parts of the Langya sacred ground. The dazzling light pierced through the clouds, containing a terrifying aura. These 7 pillars of light were emitted by the 7 main palaces of the Langya sacred ground. Boom. Soon, the 7 pillars of light landed on the central square. Then, 7 figures with terrifying auras walked out of the pillars of light. The 7 figures were dressed in luxurious robes, and their faces were extremely dignified. Although the 7 of them were not very tall, the aura they vaguely emitted was enough to shake mountains and rivers. These were the 7 temple masters of the Langya sacred ground, all of whom were in the Transcendence realm. Even in the entire Wuxian continent, they were considered to be truly influential figures. At this moment, the 7 temple masters arrived one after another. Greetings, temple masters. With the appearance of the 7 temple masters, all the disciples of the Langya sacred ground except for Jun Haoyin bowed. On the other hand, the 7 temple masters nodded slightly and did not say anything. After nodding to Jun Haoyin, the Kaiyang Hall temple master slowly walked out. The Sky Demon region opens once every 10 years. Today happens to be the opening day. All core disciples below the High Emperor realm can enter. The Kaiyang Hall temple master spoke. His voice was majestic, penetrating the clouds and resounding in everyone's ears. Yes, temple master. Hearing this, all the disciples present said in unison. Seeing this, the Kaiyang Hall temple master nodded. Behind him, the other temple masters walked forward. An ancient black token appeared in each of their hands, inscribed with various complicated words. The 7 temple masters channeled the true origin in their bodies and condensed the 7 black tokens into one. Boom. In an instant, countless people's ears rumbled. Jun Haoyin also raised his head at this moment. In the void, space shattered and an ancient formation appeared. This formation contained an unparalleled power that seemed to penetrate through all space. In particular, the crack in the formation revealed an extremely evil aura that was completely different from the Wuxian continent. That terrifying power seemed to be able to destroy everything. Buzz, it was also at this moment that the 7 tokens flew out and landed in 7 different positions in the formation. All the violent aura disappeared, leaving only a huge black door standing in the void. Enter the Sky Demon region. The outer realm is filled with danger. All disciples of the Langya sacred ground need to take care of each other. Let's enter. The temple masters spoke one after another. Without hesitation, Jun Haoyin, Jun Moyo, and the others followed the disciples and entered. Chapter 135. Jun Haoyin took a step forward and entered the ancient portal. In the next moment he felt that he had stepped into an abyss and everything was pitch black. It was as if the void had been turned upside down. Jun Haoyin could not control his body at this moment. In particular, the demonic chi that permeated the void was constantly eroding his body. Fortunately, Jun Haoyin's physical defense was unparalleled. After a while, he had adapted and gained some control over his body. Dong dong dong, it was as if thousands of war drums were beating, roaring in Jun Haoyin's ears. Humph! He snorted coldly. A huge amount of power exploded, and his golden chi and blood vibrated. In the next moment, all the discomfort disappeared. Jun Haoyin had already landed on the ground, his feet firmly planted on the ground. Jun Haoyin slowly opened his eyes, and a golden light burst out from his eyes. The scene that greeted his eyes made him feel a little incredulous. In his field of vision was a vast and desolate plain. The vast plain was full of potholes as if it had been hit by meteorites. In the void, streaks of demonic chi flowed like demons. In the sky, it was a gray color with dim stars twinkling. Everywhere he looked, it was the same scene. As soon as he entered, he could see the difference between this place and the outside world. The outside world would not have such a sky. In the sky, there were countless large meteorites as black as ink that were emitting bright light like stars. Jun Haoyin looked behind him and saw that the ancient portal that he had entered through had disappeared. It was completely closed and disappeared without a trace. At this moment, he was completely isolated from the original world and could not get out in a short period of time. Moreover, Jun Haoyin was the only one here. Jun Moyo and the rest had all disappeared. After entering the ancient portal, it seemed to be a random teleportation point. Everyone landed in a different place in the Sky Demon region. Is this the Sky Demon region? Feeling the demonic chi that permeated the void, Jun Haoyin muttered to himself. He released his soul power, but he could not sense the aura of the disciples from the Langya Saint land. However, he was not familiar with these auras. He could only sense that they were at the true energy realm and Yuandan realm. Just as the Kaiyang Hall master had said, any warrior whose cultivation had surpassed Yuandan realm would not be able to enter the Sky Devil area. The Heavenly Devil region had been opened up by the Lord Langya, and those at the Imperial Dao realm and above weren't allowed to enter. Otherwise, they would be killed mercilessly by the formation at the entrance. Who would dare to touch the means left behind by a supreme being expert? However, he still had to be careful. Even though there wouldn't be any Imperial Dao realm cultivators amongst the cultivators from the outside world, there would be heavenly demons amongst them. Boom. At this moment, not far in front of Jun Haoyin, a terrifying aura vibrated in the void. Sensing this aura, Jun Haoyin furrowed his brows. This aura was filled with evil, violence, and madness. It was like a ferocious beast that wanted to devour everything. Without a doubt, this aura belonged to a heavenly demon. When he thought up to here, Jun Haoyin didn't hesitate at all and immediately took a step forward. Run. It's a Yuan Dan realm heavenly demon. Why did we encounter a Yuan Dan realm heavenly demon as soon as we entered? We're too unlucky. Run. There are a few dozen heavenly demons comparable to Yuan Dan realm cultivators. How are we supposed to run? A few Langya disciples were fleeing for their lives. At this moment, their faces were ghastly pale and their bodies were trembling. From time to time, they would utilize the techniques and treasures in their hands to launch attacks behind them. However, their attacks were too weak and utterly useless. Behind them, a few dozen enormous black demonic shadows were madly pursuing them. Their bodies were extremely huge, covered in savage blood spikes, and emanated a peerlessly terrifying and evil aura. No matter how the Langya disciples attacked, they were unable to break through the blood-red armor on the bodies of these heavenly demons. If this continued, then only death would await them in the next few days. Kiki. These heavenly demons let out ear-piercing cries as they pursued. These cries could affect one's divine soul. Soon, the heavenly demons were getting closer and closer to the Langya disciples. The demonic aura emanating from the heavenly demons gradually enveloped them. Was over. Seeing this, the Langya disciples' faces turned pale, and their eyes were filled with despair. Boom. At this moment, an incomparably dazzling golden light shot out. The vast power of chi and blood was like the sun, illuminating the dark sky. These heavenly demons trembled all over as if they were being burned by flames and emitted green smoke. In just an instant, a few dozen heavenly demons comparable to Yuan Dan realm cultivators exploded and turned into wisps of demonic aura that drifted into the void. A man in a purple robe stood in the void as if he was a divine king. Jun Haoyin held a golden pagoda in his hand and collected all the wisps of demonic aura that drifted into the void. It's the Holy Son of Haoyin. The Holy Son of Haoyin has saved us. Greetings, Holy Son of Haoyin. When they heard the commotion, the Langya core disciples looked up into the void and couldn't help but be overjoyed. When they saw Jun Haoyin's face, all the core disciples present knelt on the ground excitedly and thanked him. Don't act alone. Try your best to meet up with your fellow disciples. Jun Haoyin stood alone in the air with an indifferent expression. He slowly left behind those words before vanishing into the void. Yes, Lord Holy Son. They bowed again and then carefully walked away. After that, Jun Haoyin started to transform into a demon slayer. So long as he saw heavenly demons, he would mercilessly kill them. A true energy realm heavenly demon contained a strand of demonic aura. An emperor realm heavenly demon contained 100 strands of demonic aura. After Jun Haoyin entered the heavenly demon region, he completely transformed into a god of slaughter and slaughtered the heavenly demons. At the same time, he paid attention to the tracks of Jun Moyo, Feng Xiaoyao, and the others. However, the heavenly demon region was truly too huge. He traversed a few tens of thousands of kilometers in just 2 hours, yet he hadn't found a single trace of them. All along the way, Jun Haoyin hadn't encountered a single emperor realm heavenly demon. Heavenly demons at this level were called demon kings. However, merely killing Yuan Dan realm heavenly demons had brought great benefits to Jun Haoyin. At this moment, he'd already gathered a few hundred strands of demonic aura. I can only head deeper in now. Jun Haoyin gazed towards the depths of the heavenly demon region as he decided in his heart. Not only would he encounter an enormous number of heavenly demons in the depths of the heavenly demon region, but he would also encounter a huge number of heavenly demons. Moreover, he would encounter disciples of the other hallowed grounds. At that time he would truly be filled with danger. In the next moment, Jun Haoyin transformed into a ray of flowing light and directly headed towards the depths of the heavenly demon region. In the depths of the heavenly demon region. This place wasn't a plain anymore, and it was covered in a myriad of black demonic mountains. This place was called the Soul Burial Devil Ridge. There were a few hundred people gathered in the Soul Burial Devil Ridge. Hundreds of people stood in different positions, seemingly forming a special kind of formation. Even if heavenly demons were constantly attacking from the outside, they couldn't break in. The 4 people in the lead had extremely terrifying auras. Do you remember what I told you earlier? One of them spoke. He wore green clothes and held a halberd in his hand. The magic energy around him had transformed into ferocious beasts that were terrifying to the extreme. His name was Lu Haoran, and he was the #1 elite disciple of the Azure Cloud Sacred Ground. Beside him, there were several existences with similar auras as him. These people were definitely a terrifying force. Don't worry, senior brother Lu. Everything will go according to plan. A figure beside Lu Haoran spoke slowly. This person was Han Tianhe. At this moment, a flattering smile appeared on his face. Chapter 136. Obviously, with Ziyang Holy Sun pulling the strings behind the scenes, Han Tianhe had successfully joined forces with Qingyun Holy Sun and the other major forces. Well, do it as soon as possible. We don't have much time. LV Haoran said slowly with a calm expression. Just the aura emanating from his body was already terrifying. Yes, senior brothers, please wait for the good news. Han Tianhe confidently promised with a hint of excitement on his face. At this moment he worshipped Ziyang Holy Sun so much that he could not control himself. It had to be said that the people standing here were almost all the strongest cultivators who had entered the Sky Devil region. And these people had all gathered here just because of Ziyang Holy Sun's promise. They had even agreed to work with him to deal with Jun Haoyan. There were 4 people here who were as strong as LV Haoran. Even if Feng Xiaoyao and Dugu Bo joined forces, they would not be able to escape death. With this thought in mind, Han Tianhe was full of confidence. He then left with Zhu Xiangshi and Hong Tao. It seems that this new Langya Holy Sun is not a simple character. Even Ziyang Holy Sun is so afraid of him. A man wearing golden armor and holding a golden sword on LV Haoran's right said slowly. This person was Luo Mieshing, the number 1 true disciple of the All-Heaven Holy Land. In the All-Heaven Holy Land, his status was second only to the Holy Sun. In terms of strength he was not weaker than LV Haoran. It would be the same for you. That is a holy body. In time, this Holy Sun's strength will definitely surpass Ziyang Holy Sun's. How can he not panic? It doesn't matter if he has a holy body or not. As long as he is dead, he is useless. A favor from Ziyang Holy Sun is worth a try. 2 other people on the side spoke slowly. In terms of aura, these 2 people were not weaker than LV Haoran and Luo Mieshing. They were the number 1 true disciple of the Wavering Light Holy Land, Fang Xiu, and the number 1 true disciple of the Yinyang sect, Wang Lin. These 4 people represented the 4 top powerhouses who had entered the Sky Devil region. Behind the 4 of them, there were other true disciples with extraordinary strength. In total, there were several hundred people. Hundreds of people attacked together. Not to mention Feng Xiaoyao and the others. Even an existence at the Imperial Dao realm wouldn't be able to escape death. Apart from that, they had also set up a killing array. It was all for this moment. I'd like to see if this Langya Holy Sun is as powerful as they say. Lu Daren's face was proud, and a burning fighting spirit flashed in his eyes. He possessed an extraordinary physique and had outstanding talent. In the Green Cloud sacred ground, other than the Holy Sun, he was the number 1 disciple of Langya. If they could defeat that vast heaven holy land, it would be an interesting thing. Let's go and complete the killing formation. We'll prepare a big gift for the people from the Langya sacred land. The soul-burying Devil Ridge will be their burial ground. Luo Mieshing said as he led the people of the Luo Tian Holy Land away. The others also began to move. On the other side, Jun Haoyan was still slaughtering the heavenly demons. For several hours, Jun Haoyan didn't stop at all. All the heavenly demons he encountered were killed by him. Not a single blade of grass was spared. Among them, 10 Imperial Dao Realm Devil Kings died in Jun Haoyan's hands. If it were anyone else, they wouldn't dare to be as merciless as Jun Haoyan because they had to consider the consumption of their true essence. However, Jun Haoyan, who cultivated the divine elephant overpowering force, was different. He was like a fish in water in the heavenly demon region. In addition, his sacred physique, golden blood, and the exquisite pagoda were the nemesis of the heavenly demons. Any heavenly demon could only display ordinary strength in front of him. In this place, Jun Haoyan had an incomparable advantage. He was like a ruler. Invincible. He could suppress everything. During this period, Jun Haoyan had collected thousands of strands of devil essence. However, what worried him was that there was still no news of Jun Moyo and the others. This made him have a bad premonition. Before entering the heavenly demon region, they had already made a plan. After entering the heavenly demon region, the first thing they did was to quickly find the other party. Only by gathering together could they better hunt heavenly demons and obtain devil essence. Could something have happened to them? The bad premonition in Jun Haoyan's heart grew stronger and stronger. He couldn't help but speed up towards the center of the heavenly demon region. Along the way, Jun Haoyan gave up on killing mindlessly. He only killed heavenly demons at the Yuandan realm and Imperial Dao realm. Just like that, Jun Haoyan traveled a few hundred kilometers into the depths of the heavenly demon region. At this moment, a strong wave of devil chi came from ahead. The aura wasn't far from him. It was only 50 kilometers away. There seemed to be thousands of heavenly demons gathered there. There were even Imperial Dao Realm Devil Kings present, forming a terrifying devil chi field. There's someone here? When Jun Haoyan was halfway there, his soul sensed that there was actually someone among the group of heavenly demons. This was very surprising to him. Probably only a heavenly dipper true inheritance could resist so many heavenly demons. However, the devil chi there was truly too enormous. Even Jun Haoyan's soul energy was obstructed, and he was unable to investigate the situation inside. He didn't hesitate to attack. Bang! Vast devil chi surged as thousands of heavenly demons attacked in unison. However, the figure among them was extremely powerful as well. Rays of blue light froze the entire area. It was as if the area had transformed into an icy hell. This aura? Jun Haoyan had just arrived when he sensed a trace of coldness. As far as he knew, there was only one person who possessed such an aura. It was his older sister Jun Moyo. However, Jun Moyo was only at the 7th stage of the Yuandan realm. How could she resist so many heavenly demons? I'll attack first. Jun Haoyan immediately made up his mind. The image of a blood sea appeared behind him. The 12 demon gods stood behind him, reinforcing his body. Terrifying waves of true essence condensed and transformed into a primordial heavenly dragon. Especially the golden chi energy around Jun Haoyan, it transformed into a vast chi energy furnace. Bang! A punch. Just another punch. It was like a river bursting through a dam or a primordial divine mountain rioting. This punch directly smashed hundreds of heavenly demons into smithereens. Countless heavenly demons roared as they sensed great danger. They immediately changed the direction of their attacks, and there were even 2 demon kings at the Emperor realm amongst them. Jun Haoyan grunted coldly as the exquisite pagoda appeared in his hand. It transformed into a 3,000-meter tall pagoda that was 90% tall. Gods, Buddhas and other figures were engraved on it. The pagoda shook as strands of virtue chi descended. Coupled with the golden chi energy that erupted from Jun Haoyan's body, there was a supreme divine aura to it. Under such an attack, the countless heavenly demons seemed to have seen their nemesis. One by one, they exploded and transformed into strands of devil essence. Jun Haoyan naturally wouldn't stand on ceremony and collected all of the devil essence. This would be a great help to him. Under Jun Haoyan's terrifying attack, a gap was instantly blasted open in the horde of heavenly demons. It was also at this moment that Jun Haoyan finally saw the figure at the center of the horde of heavenly demons. It really was his older sister Jun Moyo. However, in Jun Haoyan's perception, the current Jun Moyo was different. He actually felt a sense of unfamiliarity. Chapter 137. What's going on? Jun Haoyan was surprised and worried when he saw Jun Moyo. He had never seen Jun Moyo in such a state before. Suddenly, Jun Haoyan recalled Feng Xiaoyao's words. Perhaps his sister really had some kind of secret. Thousands of thoughts flashed through his mind. However, Jun Haoyan's hands didn't stop moving. His hands continued to bombard the demonic chi field with fierce attacks. It was at this moment that he finally saw Jun Moyo's current state clearly. He revealed a surprised expression. At this moment, Jun Moyo was emitting the power she was emitting. It was no different from an Imperial Dao Realm expert. What attracted Jun Haoyan the most was the snow lotus mark on Jun Moyo's forehead. At this moment, the snow lotus mark was emitting a dazzling blue light. Jun Moyo's strange state was definitely related to the snow lotus mark on her forehead. Boom! Just as Jun Haoyan was observing, all the sky fiends in the demonic chi field began to attack. They joined forces and launched a terrifying attack. Although Jun Moyo was powerful, she had clearly reached her limit. She was no match for the combined attacks of these sky fiends. Jun Haoyan's expression turned cold when he saw this. In the next moment, a powerful and terrifying aura erupted from Jun Haoyan's body. The golden blood chi in his saint body surged out once more. There was a terrifying pressure in the void. Buzz, Sovereign's Descent. Activate. At this moment, petals that contained the laws of heaven and earth suddenly fell from the void. In the next moment, these petals suddenly opened. Boom, boom. Sovereign's Descent. It completely erupted. Jun Haoyan walked out from all the petals. These Jun Haoyan punched out in unison. The world was collapsing and the dead stars in the void seemed to be shaking. The terrifying monarch art unleashed an undefeatable aura. With this move, Jun Haoyan directly pulled all the sky fiends into the battle. Jun Haoyan took a step forward, and countless divine lights erupted from his body. He was like an invincible expert who had walked out from the 9 heavens. With every step he took, a terrifying force swept out in all directions. The sky fiends and demon kings that swept past all exploded and died. They were directly crushed. In just a short moment, all the sky fiends in the void were dead. The demonic chi in the world disappeared and everything turned clear. Jun Haoyin's appearance was like Pangu splitting the heavens and earth apart. At this moment Jun Haoyin felt this power. She turned around and sensed that familiar aura. She was overjoyed. In the next moment she was. But at this moment the snows on the power on Jun's, the power on the snow moon she's Haoyin. Jun Moyo used all her strength to call out this name. The next moment she was about to collapse. Jun Haoyin was shocked. His figure flashed, and he appeared beside Jun Moyo and hugged her. Sister? At this moment Jun Haoyin was not surprised at all. The person in front of him was indeed his sister. Although he had countless questions in his heart, seeing Jun Moyo's weak appearance, he forcibly suppressed the curiosity in his heart. Then Jun Haoyin took out a trace of elixir from his storage ring and fed it to Jun Moyo. An hour later Jun Moyo's eyelids moved and he woke up. Haoyin. Seeing Jun Haoyin, Jun Moyo's face showed a hint of excitement. Previously she thought that she was going to die. Sister, what happened to you just now? After checking Jun Moyo's body again and confirming that there were no major problems, Jun Haoyin asked slowly. Hearing this, Jun Moyo was slightly stunned. Then, like a little girl who had done something wrong, Jun Moyo acted. You mean the snow lotus's mark on my forehead? After hesitating for a moment, Jun Moyo said slowly. Jun Haoyin stared at Jun Moyo and nodded. Actually, this snow lotus's mark has been there since I was born. My current talent is inseparable from this snow lotus's mark. It's just that I don't understand the origin of this snow lotus. Most importantly, after I broke through to the Yuandan stage, I discovered that this snow lotus could actually increase my power. This power came in a strange way, so I haven't used it. But not long ago, when Jun Moyo said this, Jun Haoyin also roughly understood the matter. This snow lotus's mark could be said to be Jun Moyo's greatest secret. Without this snow lotus's mark, perhaps Jun Moyo would still be in Soaring Dragon City. It was very ordinary and there was nothing special about it. Thinking of this, Jun Haoyin didn't continue to ask. This was Jun Moyo's own secret, and he had no right to ask. She was willing to tell him so much, which meant that she trusted him enough. He didn't need to get to the bottom of it. As long as the Jun Moyo in front of him was still his sister, it was fine. Everything else wasn't important. Haoyin, you can't be angry, right? Seeing Jun Haoyin remain silent, Jun Moyo thought that Jun Haoyin was angry. You are my sister, how could I dare to be angry with you? However, before discovering the true nature of this snow lotus's mark, it's better not to use it in the future. Jun Haoyin shook his head and reminded Jun Moyo. There were still many secrets in the martial god continent. The snow lotus's mark on Jun Moyo's forehead was obviously of extraordinary origin. Before completely understanding it, Jun Haoyin felt that it was better not to use it casually. Otherwise it would be easy to cause problems. Yes, I know this. Seeing that Jun Haoyin wasn't angry, a smile appeared on Jun Moyo's face. The two continued to talk and talked about what they had encountered previously. Except for Jun Moyo's frightening but not dangerous situation, there was nothing special. However, the two of them didn't see Feng Xiaoyao, Dugubo and the others. They are stronger than me and they have magic weapons to protect themselves. Even if they encounter a problem, they should be able to escape unscathed. Jun Moyo said slowly. She knew the strength of these true disciples who were at the top of the Langya list. Without this strength, how could they occupy the top 3 positions on the Langya list for so many years? I hope so. Jun Haoyin nodded, but he was still a little worried. He hoped that he was overthinking it. Let's find them first. He had made up his mind that Bailey Schwanza and the others had to be found. Jun Moyo heard and nodded. After all, the Sky Demon territory had been open for 10 days. It was only the first day and they had time. After Jun Moyo finished recuperating, the two of them continued to go deeper. In a black wasteland, Bailey Schwanza, Dugubo and Feng Xiaoyao walked side by side. Behind them, countless heavenly demon corpses were strewn. Among them there were even a few demon king-level existences. When the top 3 of the Langya list joined forces, they were rather powerful. Not to mention that they could run amok here, there were very few existences that could threaten their lives. It was just a matter of how many heavenly demons they killed. A total of 4,300 strands of devil essence. At this rate, we'll only have 50,000 in 10 days. Feng Xiaoyao counted all their gains. If one wanted to break through from the Yuandan realm to the Imperial Dao realm, one person would need at least 100,000 strands of devil essence. The three of them would need 300,000 strands of devil essence. This speed was indeed a little slow. Let's go find the Holy Sun first. It'll be better if we work together, said Bailey Schwanza. The other two nodded and prepared to leave. Senior brothers, save me. But at this moment, a tragic figure appeared. Chapter 138. Feng Xiaoyao's expression changed slightly when he heard the voice. They looked in the direction of the voice and were stunned when they saw who it was. They saw Han Tianhe flying over from the void, looking a little haggard. Feng Xiaoyao noticed that Han Tianhe's body was covered in blood and his breathing was chaotic. He was obviously severely injured. Feng Xiaoyao and the other two frowned when they saw Han Tianhe's condition. However, the three of them did not choose to help him. Although Han Tianhe had hidden it well, Feng Xiaoyao and the other two knew that he had sided with the Xiang Holy Sun. Now that the three of them had sided with the Holy Sun, they naturally had to draw a line with Han Tianhe. Bam! In the next moment, Han Tianhe staggered and fell in front of the three of them. Feng Xiaoyao and the other two frowned when they saw this. Han Tianhe seemed to be seriously injured. Senior brother Feng, senior brother Dugu, senior brother Baili, please help me. After falling to the ground, Han Tianhe ignored his injuries and crawled toward the three of them. When Han Tianhe got closer, Feng Xiaoyao and the other two noticed it. Han Tianhe's body was pierced through. Blood was flowing out of his body. Han Tianhe, what happened to you? Feng Xiaoyao asked slowly. Although Han Tianhe seemed to be seriously injured, Feng Xiaoyao and the other two were still cautious and did not go forward to help him. Senior brothers, something bad has happened. Qingyun's sacred ground, Luotian's sacred ground, Yaoguang's sacred ground, and Yinyang sect have formed an alliance. Many of my brothers and I were ambushed by them. At this point, Han Tianhe's face was extremely pale and his body was trembling. At this moment, his eyes were filled with fear. In terms of acting skills, he could win an Oscar. Tell us what happened? Upon hearing this, Feng Xiaoyao and the other two's faces changed and they asked hurriedly. The four major forces had formed an alliance to attack the Langya sacred ground. This was no small matter. Senior brothers, it's like this? Then Han Tianhe slowly recounted his experience. According to Han Tianhe's experience, after he, Zhu Xiangshi, and the others entered the Sky Devil region, the Sky Devil region was filled with people. Not only was he collecting demon essence, but he was also rescuing human warriors who were in danger. Over time, they gathered over 100 core disciples and hunted the heavenly demon horde together. Along the way they encountered the people from the Green Cloud sacred ground and encountered danger. Out of kindness, they saved the disciple of the Green Cloud sacred ground. However, he never expected that after that person left, he would bite the hand that fed him. After that, he even led the people from the Azure Cloud sacred ground, the All Heaven sacred ground, the Wavering Light sacred ground, and the Great Yinyang sect to ambush them. Among them was the number one true disciple of the Green Cloud sacred ground, Lu Haoran. In the end, he surrounded them all in the soul-burying Devil Ridge and wanted to kill everyone from the Langya Holy Land. Only Han Tianhe, whose strength was outstanding, was able to kill his way out of the encirclement. Even LV Haoran and the others have made a move? After hearing Han Tianhe's words, Feng Xiaoyao was instantly enraged. Even in the past, conflicts between the various holy lands were inevitable. However, there had never been a situation like this where several major forces joined forces to kill one force. Moreover, in this case, even the number one true disciple had made a move. This matter was definitely not simple. On the account that we are from the same sect, I would like to ask the three senior brothers for help. Zhu Xiangshi, Hong Tao, and the other junior brothers are at the point of life and death. It'll be too late if we're late. At this point, Han Tianhe's face was filled with sorrow. In the next moment, he actually knelt in front of Feng Xiaoyao and the other two. Seeing this, Feng Xiaoyao and the other two were slightly moved. If you've lied to us, the consequences will be severe. Bailey Schwanza squinted his eyes slightly and looked into Han Tianhe's eyes. The latter's heart skipped a beat as if a sword had pierced his heart. It was as if he had been seen through. Senior brother Bailey, what do you mean? Do you think that I, Han Tianhe, would joke about my fellow senior brothers? Han Tianhe took a step back in order to advance and he looked extremely furious. Even Bailey Schwanza was fooled by his appearance. Subsequently, the three of them looked at each other and said to Han Tianhe, "Bring us over. I'd like to see where LV Haoran got the guts to be so arrogant." Yes. On the surface, Han Tianhe looked excited but his heart was filled with coldness. Come on, come on. When the time comes, I'll make sure the three of you die. Soon, under Han Tianhe's lead, Feng Xiaoyao and Bailey Xuanzi arrived at the Soul Burial Demonic Ridge. Indeed, there were deafening sounds of killing and various treasures were flying around. The disciples of Qingyun's Sacred Ground and Luotian's Sacred Ground stood at the side and formed a formation as they attacked continuously. In the center of the formation, there were hundreds of core disciples of Langya's Sacred Ground. Moreover, more than half of them were injured. Tuoba Yu was among them, but he was obviously severely injured. In the void, there was a figure holding a heavenly halberd that suppressed the entire place. It was the number one true disciple of Qingyun's Sacred Ground, LV Haoran. When Feng Xiaoyao and the rest saw this, they were enraged. LV Haoran, how dare you? 1/3 of the disciples of Langya's Sacred Ground were either injured or dead. As the true disciples of Langya's Sacred Ground, how could they tolerate such a situation? They didn't even check the situation around them and attacked directly. Powerful true origin vibrated as Feng Xiaoyao and Dugu Bo charged into the formation. However, when Bailey Xuanzi wanted to enter, he suddenly felt a dangerous aura. Just at this moment, the entire formation released a blazing light. Waves of violent dermic powers gathered and turned into tens of thousands of killing swords. Outside the central formation there was a second formation. Haha, Feng Xiaoyao, Dugu Bo, you guys are really easy to fool. Once you enter the 7 slaughter formation, even if the two of you have great abilities, you won't be able to escape. Han Tianhe, well done. 3 voices sounded. They were Luo Miexing, Fang Xiu and Wang Lin. They were the top true disciples of the 3 major forces. Feng Xiaoyao and Dugu Bo's hair stood on end as they felt the endless killing intent. At this moment, their hearts sank to the bottom of the valley. From the conversation just now, the two of them knew that they had fallen into a trap. Han Tianhe, you're courting death. Colluding with the outer sect to kill a fellow disciple is a crime punishable by death. Feng Xiaoyao, Dugu Bo, and Bailey Xuanzi looked at Han Tianhe with eyes filled with killing intent. However, Han Tianhe was no longer behind them. At this moment, Han Tianhe was standing outside the formation. Although he was still injured, he wasn't as weak as before. If you want to blame someone, blame yourselves for being too stupid. You want me to die? Ah, do you think you can leave? Han Tianhe looked down at Feng Xiaoyao and company and laughed loudly. A mocking smile appeared on his face. The 3 of them were filled with killing intent, but this killing formation was formed by the true disciples of the 4 major forces. Even they couldn't leave. As for Han Tianhe, he looked into the distance. These 3 people were just the beginning. There was still one more Jun Haoyan. He had lured him here. Then he would catch them all in one fell swoop. At that time, he would be the most trustworthy person by Xiang Holy Sun's side. What Holy Son of Langya? He would trample on him. Chapter 139. Within the Soul Burial Ridge. The air was filled with a terrifying aura. An area of 5 kilometers was enveloped by a peerless slaughter formation. And within this peerless killing formation, there were hundreds of people struggling to survive. They were madly using the treasures in their hands to resist the attacks of the slaughter formation. The true essence of a few hundred people had converged together to form a terrifying domain. With the obstruction of this domain, the demonic qi and killing array attacks from the outside world were temporarily unable to break in. All of them were disciples of the Langya hallowed grounds. They were led by Feng Xiaoyao, Dugu Bo, and Bailey Xuanzi, who were ranked at the top of the Langya rankings. At this moment, every single one of them had used their trump cards. But it was still useless. The formation outside was still as stable as Mount Tai. Outside the slaughter formation, Lu Haoran, Luo Miexing, Fang Xiu, and Wang Lin were working together to maintain the formation. The 4 geniuses had joined forces to form a grand formation. It was a peerless slaughter formation. Not to mention Yuan Dan realm cultivators. Even a dozen Emperor realm cultivators wouldn't be able to break through the formation. This was a killing move that intended to bury all the disciples of the Langya hallowed grounds here. The Sky Devil region was an outerium. Even the hallowed grounds wouldn't be able to find out if they died here. That was why Lu Haoran and the others dared to attack the disciples of the Langya hallowed grounds without the slightest fear. At this moment, Feng Xiaoyao and the other disciples of the Langya hallowed grounds were truly at a moment of life and death. Senior brother Lu, senior brother Wang, you have to save some strength. How Tian Holy Sun is still here. Outside the killing array, Han Tianhe looked at Feng Xiaoyao and the others who were in a sorry state. A smug smile appeared on his face. Behind him, Zhu Xiangshi and Hong Tao smiled sinisterly. Xiang Holy Sun really is a good strategist. He actually made you harm yourself for the sake of trapping Feng Xiaoyao and the others. Moreover, he even used a few hundred disciples of the Langya hallowed grounds as bait. Xiang Holy Sun really is something. Looking at the smug Han Tianhe, LV Howren said with some trepidation. Even he felt a chill in his heart at such a ruthless method. Xiang Holy Sun was indeed someone who could achieve great things. Haha, my Holy Sun said that as long as we get rid of Jun Haoyan, the price is nothing. Hearing this, Han Tianhe said proudly. He was one of Xiang Holy Sun's men. Naturally, he would follow Xiang Holy Sun's lead. Alright, there's only one Holy Sun left. As long as you lure him here, we will naturally take care of him for you. Luo Mieshing, the number one true disciple of the Luo Heaven Holy Land, spoke. Luo Mieshing looked expectant. If he could trample the Holy Sun of the Langya Holy Land under his feet, it would not be a bad thing. Then it's a deal. Senior brothers, wait for my good news. Hearing this, Han Tianhe agreed immediately. He was confident that Jun Haoyan would be fooled. Feng Xiaoyao and the rest were the biggest assets of Jun Haoyan and Xiang Holy Sun. He would not give up on these people easily. Thinking of this, Han Tianhe turned into a stream of light and disappeared from the spot. This time his goal was to find Jun Haoyan. In the killing formation, Feng Xiaoyao and the rest looked at Han Tianhe's departure with a sour expression. Han Tianhe must have gone to find the Holy Sun. He wants to use us to lure the Holy Sun over. The Seven Lore formation was created by a supreme elder of the Qingyun Holy Ground. It's extremely terrifying. That's right. If the Holy Sun is lured over by Han Tianhe, I'm afraid he will be doomed. As the three of them spoke, they kept defending against the attacks of the killing formation. They were very worried that the Holy Sun would fall into the trap. That would be the end. However, they could not leave at all and could not report. Thinking of this, the three of them could not wait to tear Han Tianhe into pieces. If they could get out, they would make sure Han Tianhe was doomed. In desperation, the three of them could only try their best to preserve their strength. If the Holy Sun came, they would be able to help. At least they would not be a burden. However, at this time, the killing formation emitted a strong killing intent. Obviously, LV Howren knew what they were thinking. Of course, he would not let them have their way. The entire great slaughtering formation instantly became extremely dangerous. At this moment, in another part of the Sky Demon territory, dazzling golden blood chi surrounded Jun Haoyan. It was extremely majestic. Above Jun Haoyan's head, the Linglong Pagoda dropped countless strands of merit power. Jun Haoyan's existence was like a god in comparison. Wherever Jun Haoyan went, he did not even have to lift a finger. Wherever his aura swept, the bodies of the heavenly demons self-destructed. Only wisps of fiend essence were left floating in the void, automatically absorbed by the Linglong Pagoda. Even a heavenly demon horde made up of thousands of heavenly demons was also swept away by Jun Haoyan. Looking at this scene, Jun Moyo, who was behind Jun Haoyan, could not help but reveal a look of horror. She simply could not believe what was happening in front of her. Was this still the heavenly demon horde that made people tremble in fear? Why were they so weak? Haoyan, you're too sick. Jun Moyo looked at Jun Haoyan in a daze and muttered to herself in a murmur. At this moment, Jun Haoyan was like a god descending to the mortal world, ruling over the world. This was a true peerless genius. Rumble. Another large wave of heavenly demons was killed by Jun Haoyan. The world immediately returned to its clear state. Sister, let's speed up. Jun Haoyan took a step forward and stood next to Jun Moyo. He was dressed in a purple robe and looked extremely elegant. An extremely noble aura emanated from him. The thousands of heavenly demons that he had just killed did not seem to affect him at all. This scene made Jun Moyo exclaim in her heart again. Holy Sun, save me. Just as Jun Haoyan and Su Linglong were about to leave, a shrill scream suddenly rang out. The two of them turned around and saw Han Tianhe, who was covered in wounds, stumbling over. Han Tianhe. Seeing the person who came, Jun Moyo immediately recognized him and immediately reminded, "This is Xiang Holy Sun's man." Hearing that, Jun Haoyan nodded, his expression as calm as an ancient well. Blah. Han Tianhe flew over and directly knelt in front of Jun Haoyan without a word. Holy Sun, save me. Han Tianhe did not hesitate and directly knelt down. This action made Jun Haoyan and Su Linglong stunned. What's going on? Jun Moyo took a step forward, emitting a cold aura all over his body. After hearing that, Han Tianhe immediately lowered his head and said miserably, Lord Holy Sun, Senior Brother Feng, Senior Brother Dugu, and Senior Brother Bailey have been ambushed by the four great forces. Now, the first true disciples of the four great forces have set up a peerless killing formation to kill the people of the Langya sacred ground. His tone was filled with grief, indignation, and hatred. It seemed that he had a great hatred for the four great forces. Especially according to him, LV Howren and the others were simply unscrupulous. As for him, he was Feng Xiaoyao's man who risked his life to help him escape. His purpose was to seek help from the Holy Sun. Lord Holy Sun, please save us. Otherwise, the people of the Langya sacred ground will be finished. Han Qianhe knelt down and begged Jun Haoyin to save them. It was as if the life and death of the people of the Langya sacred ground was in Jun Haoyin's hands. Is that really so? In particular, 2 rays of golden light burst out from his eyes. He stood there as if he had seen through everything. Chapter 140. Is what you said true? It was a plain and simple sentence. Coming from Jun Haoyin's mouth, there was a unique pressure. Even when he heard that the disciples of the Langya Holy Land were trapped, Jun Haoyin's face was still as calm as an ancient well. His dark eyes stared at Han Qianhe, and there was a soul-stirring light in his pupils. Feeling Jun Haoyin's eyes that seemed to be able to see through people's hearts. Kneeling on the ground, Han Qianhe's heart skipped a beat, and he was a little terrified. Jun Haoyin gave him an unfathomable feeling. Unfathomable. He couldn't guess what Jun Haoyin was thinking at all. Did he reveal any flaws? Did he find out? No, that's impossible. If he found out, he would be dead by now. In order to make it look real, he didn't hesitate to hurt himself. It could be said that it was flawless. Jun Haoyin couldn't have seen through it. Although he was very confident, Han Qianhe still couldn't help but feel nervous. As one of the top 5 on the Langya list, Han Qianhe was naturally not a mediocre person. At that moment, he forced himself to calm down and said righteously, "Holy Sun, what I said is true. If there's any falsehood, I'm at your disposal." An oath. Although it didn't mean anything. But it reflected Han Qianhe's attitude. Looking at it, it doesn't seem fake. Maybe Feng Xiaoyao and the others are really trapped. Seeing this, Jun Moyo secretly sent a voice transmission to Jun Haoyin, but this Han Qianhe is Xiang Holy Sun's man. We still have to be careful. It's okay. Anyway, we don't have any news about Feng Xiaoyao and the others. Let's see what tricks he's playing. Jun Haoyin also sent a voice transmission, and his tone was full of confidence. With his current strength. Not to mention that the 4 true disciples who entered the Sky Devil region joined forces. Even if he was facing Xiang Holy Sun, he was not afraid at all. At this moment, Jun Haoyin's cultivation had already reached the 8th level of Yuan Dan stage. Furthermore, he had the strength of the hell-crushing god Mammoth, as well as several other peak-level sovereign arts. The experts of the older generation did not leave the mountain. He could already be called a king among the younger generation. Facing a mere Han Qianhe, there was no need to worry too much. This was the confidence of an invincible warrior. Han Qianhe, hurry up and lead the way. Jun Haoyin said to Han Qianhe. Hearing this, Han Qianhe's mind shook and he said excitedly, "Understood." Success. Seeing that Jun Haoyin was fooled, Han Qianhe couldn't help but feel excited. Jun Haoyin, I will take back the humiliation I suffered in front of you tenfold. Han Qianhe swore in his heart. The Holy Sun was about to fall because of him. Han Qianhe was extremely excited. Thinking of this, Han Qianhe immediately got up and led Jun Haoyin to the soul-burying demonic ridge. The 3 of them were all Yuan Dan stage martial artists, and their flying speed was also extremely fast. In just an instant they had covered thousands of miles. In just half an hour, Han Qianhe and Jun Haoyin arrived at the soul-burying demonic ridge. At this moment, not far from them, a peerless killing formation was looming. The people trapped inside were the disciples of the Langya Holy Land. Holy Sun, there it is. Han Qianhe pointed at the 7 lore formation and said to Jun Haoyin, "LV Howren, you killed my fellow disciples. If I don't kill you, I am not human." At this moment, Han Qianhe suddenly shouted and rushed into the 7 lore formation. Jun Haoyin saw this and a trace of mockery flashed in his eyes. Let's go too. I want to see what tricks these guys have up their sleeves." Then Jun Haoyin did not hesitate and led Jun Moyo into the 7 lore formation. Just when Jun Haoyin and Jun Haoyin were less than 10 miles away from the 7 lore formation, Han Qianhe suddenly stopped. At the same time, the whole world suddenly became dark. In the next moment, countless bright lights flashed in the darkness. Lines of runes appeared under Jun Haoyin's feet, exuding a terrifying killing intent. In an instant, thousands of sword lights shot out from the boundless darkness. Each sword light was dozens of feet in size and was extremely sharp. It seemed to be able to destroy everything. At this moment, countless lights shot out. At this moment, powerful figures also slowly appeared. As terrifying spells were cast, the formation was once again expanded on the foundation of the original formation. Haha, Holy Son of Haoyin, your end is here. At this moment, Han Tianhe stood outside the formation and looked at Jun Haoyin with a maniacal smile. The respect on his face had long disappeared. Instead, it was replaced with a face full of killing intent. Oh no, we've been tricked. Seeing this scene, Jun Moyo's expression changed drastically. She bombarded the formation frantically, but it was useless. As for Jun Haoyin, he remained unmoved as he watched this scene. It seemed that all of this had already been within his expectations. Holy Son. At this moment, Feng Xiaoyao and Dugu Bo also noticed Jun Haoyin. Their expressions were extremely ugly. They did not expect that the Holy Son still fell into the trap. What the hell is going on? Seeing Feng Xiaoyao and the others, Jun Moyo immediately asked. Feng Xiaoyao and the others sighed and then explained a little. Damn it, this Han Tianhe actually colluded with outsiders to kill his fellow disciples. He's courting death. It's a capital offense. After hearing the explanation, Jun Moyo was extremely furious. However, Feng Xiaoyao and the others shook their heads. It was useless to say anything now. After that, they explained the current situation and how to break through the killing formation. Chapter 141. It's just a group of small fries. I alone am enough. Jun Haoyin looked at the terrifying killing array in the void and said emotionlessly. Even though thousands of sword lights were gushing out from the killing array, Jun Haoyin was still aloof from the world and did not panic at all. He maintained an indifferent expression as if nothing could move him. Hearing Jun Haoyin's words, all the disciples of the Langya Holy Land turned to look at him. For some reason, Jun Haoyin's words sounded extremely arrogant. It actually gave them a glimmer of hope in their hearts. They looked at the indifferent Jun Haoyin with some expectations. The person in front of them was their Holy Son. The one who was in the limelight at the crowning ceremony. The one who was recognized by the 9 great sages and was bestowed with 9 Holy Sun marks by the Lord Langya. Holy Son, you? Feng Xiaoyao looked at Jun Haoyin with a hint of expectation in his eyes. But it soon turned into disappointment. The few of them had personally experienced this 7 lore killing formation. It was impossible to shake it. Even if he, Dugu Bo, and Bailey Xuanzi joined forces to attack, it was useless. No matter how strong the Holy Sun was, he was only in the Yuandan realm. It was impossible for him to break the array by himself. Moreover, outside the array, there were LV Howren and the other prodigies of the 4 major forces waiting for an opportunity. Waiting for an opportunity to attack. No need to say more. You guys can retreat for the time being. Seeing Feng Xiaoyao hesitating, Jun Haoyin naturally knew what he was going to say. Directly interrupting Feng Xiaoyao, Jun Haoyin turned to look at all the disciples of the Langya Holy Land. You guys retreat 5 miles first. I, the Holy Sun, promise to take you out of the array. Retreat 5 miles? Was the Holy Sun really going to break the formation by himself? No matter how strong the Holy Sun was, it was impossible for him to forcibly break the formation under the protection of the 4 number 1 true disciples. Moreover, this 7 lore killing formation was not that easy to break. Haoyin, you, sister, trust me? Jun Moyo was about to speak, but he was interrupted by Jun Haoyin. His tone was firm and confident. Jun Moyo looked at Jun Haoyin, not knowing what to say. After a long time he slowly said, all right. The current Jun Haoyin had already begun to possess the bearing of a peerless expert. It made people instinctively believe his words. Thinking of this, Jun Moyo looked at Feng Xiaoyao and the others and said slowly, we'll listen to the Holy Sun and retreat for now. Upon seeing this, all the disciples of the Langya Saint Land looked at each other. Then, under the command of Feng Xiaoyao and the others, they had no choice but to retreat 5 miles. After everyone had left, Yi Zichen's voice rang out. Jun Haoyin slowly took a step forward. Vast amounts of true origin condensed together, and the power of tens of thousands of primordial mammoths erupted. It was about to tear the sky apart. Boom, boom, boom. It was as if thousands of thunderbolts were exploding, and it was as if millions of volcanoes were erupting at the same time. The vital qi in the entire array collapsed with a loud rumble. Jun Haoyin punched out and the heavens and the earth rumbled. The 108,000 swords in front of him shattered and turned into nothingness. The soul burial demonic ridge was even more violent, as if it was about to explode. Seeing this scene, Lu Haoran and the others were terrified, and the true origin energy in their bodies couldn't help but tremble. The seven killer formation trembled violently, and it felt like it could shatter at any time. This is impossible. How can his strength be so terrifying? Luo Mieshan couldn't believe it. He held the golden sword in his hand, and it immediately enlarged to 100,000 feet, shooting out endless golden light. Ferocious beasts that were 100,000 feet long charged out of the halberd in Lu Haoran's hand. Wang Lin and Fang Xiu also attacked at the same time, not daring to hold back. At this moment they were extremely shocked to find that this holy son of Hao Tian really had the strength to break the formation alone. Dong, dong, dong. The strongest true disciples of the four forces attacked together, and the power they released was shocking. The heavens and earth were dark and the sun and moon were dim. Jun Haoyan wasn't afraid at all, and the true origin energy in his body surged. The powerful state of the indestructible divine body made this killing formation pose no threat to him at all. Sizzle, sizzle. Another punch the size of an ancient mountain was thrown out. Rumble. The earth cracked as if it was about to collapse, and lava erupted from the ground. The entire space seemed to have turned into a black and red ocean. It was like a real hell. The strongest true disciples of the four forces all retreated with terrified expressions. Jun Haoyan's punch had actually repelled the formation's momentum and the four people's joint attack. Was this really the power of a human? They suspected that they had met a monster. But just as the four of them were shocked, an even more terrifying power erupted. Jun Haoyan was like a king, and the power of the 12 demon gods had completely merged into his body. The esoteric word was activated. 10 times the combat power. 10 times the overall increase. Jun Haoyan clenched his fist and punched out again and again. Every punch tore through the void and exploded thousands of miles of mountains and rivers. Boom, boom, boom. The entire seven killer formation shook like a candle in the wind, about to be extinguished at any time. Not good, the seven killer formation is about to be broken. Everyone, quickly show your trump cards, or the formation won't be able to hold on. Seeing this scene, Lu Haoran was terrified and his mind trembled. It's too late. Jun Haoyan said indifferently and threw out another earth-shattering punch. Chapter 142. As soon as Jun Haoyan finished speaking, he blasted out another punch. A vast and terrifying true essence gushed out of his body. At this moment, Jun Haoyan directly transformed into an invincible god of war. The combat power he displayed was earth-shattering. It was enough to crush everything. Under Jun Haoyan's bombardment, the entire seven lore formation was shaking. The true essence in the void was tumbling, emitting a series of roars. At this moment, outside the seven lore formation, all the disciples of the four major forces were frantically pouring all their true essence into the formation. You overestimate yourself. The corners of his mouth curled into a mocking smile. The next moment, Jun Haoyan gathered his strength and blasted out another punch at the seven lore formation. In the next moment, a deafening roar sounded from the void. The seven lore formation shook, and the entire void was shaking. An extremely powerful aftershock was transmitted from the seven lore formation to the disciples of the four major forces outside the formation. This aftershock affected LV Haoran and the other top true disciples. They could barely resist it. However, the other true disciples and core disciples didn't feel so good. Those who were maintaining the formation at this moment directly vomited blood and fell to the ground. The power of one punch was so terrifying. Jun Haoyan actually resisted the combined attack of the four major forces with his own strength. Boom. Under Jun Haoyan's terrifying punch, the seven lore formation was almost broken. Fortunately, LV Haoran and the other top true disciples tried their best to maintain and finally stabilize the formation. However, this was only caused by Jun Haoyan's punch. In the next moment, Jun Haoyan blasted towards the seven lore formation again. One punch. 2 punches. 3 punches. With Jun Haoyan's 3 punches, the entire seven lore formation shook violently. The deafening sound of the explosion traveled thousands of miles away. The vast roar caused some volcanoes to erupt directly. A huge amount of magma spewed out and the entire world was trembling. This scene was as if this space was about to be destroyed. At this moment, the disciples of the four major forces had also reached their limits. Every time Jun Haoyan punched out, a portion of the disciples would fall unconscious. After 3 punches, a huge hole already appeared in the seven-terminal grand formation. At this moment, Han Tianhe, Zhu Xiangshi, and Hong Tao were all trembling when they saw this scene. They couldn't believe it. He originally thought that Jun Haoyan would definitely die after entering the 7-terminal formation. However, he never expected Jun Haoyan to be able to unleash such terrifying power. It wasn't just the three of them. 5 li away from Jun Haoyan, Feng Xiaoyao and the other Langya Holy Land disciples were completely dumbfounded when they saw Jun Haoyan's silhouette. In the face of such a grand array, the Holy Sun only needed to throw out a few punches to completely resolve the crisis. Such battle prowess was simply unparalleled in the world. Feng Xiaoyao and the others looked at each other and they couldn't help but rejoice. Back then, choosing to follow the Holy Sun was indeed the wisest decision. Such a heaven-defying character. If they were to become enemies with him, that would be a nightmare. Boom. At this moment, Jun Haoyan threw out another punch. Boom. Dozens of Emerald Sky Sect disciples who were maintaining the 7-terminal grand formation suddenly exploded, turning into a bloody mist. The lingering aftershock of the grand formation actually caused their corpses to disappear without a trace. This level of strength was simply unrivaled. Seeing this scene, LV Howren and the others suddenly felt their scalps go numb. Subsequently, the 4 of them madly increased the output of their vital essence. Now they no longer had the energy to attack Jun Haoyan. After witnessing Jun Haoyan's power, LV Howren and the others also knew. If the 7-terminal grand formation was destroyed, they wouldn't be Jun Haoyan's opponent at all. Moreover, Jun Haoyan still had a group of Langya Holy Land disciples trapped in the 7-terminal grand formation behind him. Thinking of this, the 4 true disciples once again increased the output of their vital essence. They were going to take a gamble. They were going to bet that Jun Haoyan's body didn't have much vital essence left. They were going to bet that Jun Haoyan's vital essence was about to be exhausted. However, they were going to be disappointed. At this point, Jun Haoyan's incomparably vigorous vital essence had yet to erupt. How could it be exhausted? Those punches just now didn't consume much of his vital essence at all. Break it. At this moment, Jun Haoyan roared violently. Accompanied by a thunderous roar, the terrifying vital essence was raging. Jun Haoyan blasted another punch on the 7-terminal grand formation. The entire array immediately cracked open, like a ceramic crack appearing on a piece of porcelain. Close to 100 disciples of the 4 forces were trembling all over. Some of them directly exploded, some of their souls were annihilated, and some of them directly fell to the ground and died. At this moment, the 7-terminal grand formation was completely broken. The Holy Sun really did it. The Holy Sun broke the 7-terminal grand formation with his own strength. It's too terrifying. Seeing this scene, all the disciples of the Langya sacred ground shouted excitedly despite their injuries. They thought they were doomed, but they didn't expect a great heaven disciple to easily solve it with a few punches. Such a grand feat was probably not something an ordinary elder could do. All the disciples of the Langya sacred ground looked at the purple figure in the void with fanaticism in their eyes. They would never forget that scene for the rest of their lives. Boom. Finally, Jun Haoyan stepped out. He walked out of the grand formation in a purple robe and appeared directly in front of LV Howren and the others. All this made Jun Haoyan appear in front of everyone like a celestial emperor from the 9 heavens descending. How could this be? LV Howren's face was pale, and his spiritual soul was trembling. This person's cultivation was only at LV7 Yuan Dan realm. How could he explode with such terrifying power? He looked indifferently at the people of the 4 forces. Jun Haoyan didn't say anything unnecessary, nor did he do anything unnecessary. He directly attacked. It was an ordinary punch from Jun Haoyan's hand. Wherever the fist print passed, the space roared and its power was overwhelming. Facing this punch, LV Howren was terrified. He desperately activated the middle-grade artifact in his hand, the Sky Halberd, to block this punch. In the next moment, several ancient beasts rushed out from the Sky Halberd. However, all of them were instantly shattered upon coming into contact with the fist imprint. Boom, boom, boom. 3 punches in a row with Jun Haoyan's combat strength and supreme spiritual ether. The ground within a radius of 500 miles cracked, forming gullies that spanned for hundreds of miles. Crack. At this moment, LV Howren was horrified to find that the middle-grade artifact in his hand had cracked. Although it didn't really crack, more than half of the divinity in it had been destroyed. Just as he came to his senses, Jun Haoyan stepped out. He stepped right on top of LV Howren's head. Die. Jun Haoyan said softly as LV Howren's soul and body were destroyed. In an instant, blood mist filled the sky. He bathed in endless blood and slowly looked at Luo Mieshing and the others. You all will die too. Hearing this, Luo Mieshing and the others trembled as if they had been hit hard. Let's attack together. I don't believe this person is invincible. In the next moment, their eyes were filled with madness. They took out their treasures and wanted to fight Jun Haoyin to the death. However, at this moment, Jun Haoyin seemed to have entered a realm where no one could stop him. Every time he raised his hand, several people's bodies would shatter. Luo Mieshing and the other top true disciples could be considered true geniuses on the martial god continent. However, facing Jun Haoyin, they were just ordinary people. In less than an incense stick's worth of time, LV Haoran, Luo Mieshing, Fang Xiu and Wang Lin, the top true disciples of the four great forces, were chopped up by Jun Haoyin like vegetables. They were all crushed to death. Not even their bones were left, let alone whole corpses. The whole world was filled with blood. None of the disciples of the four great forces were alive. Jun Haoyin stood in the blood, his purple robe not stained by a speck of dust. What a terrifying scene. He was like a demon king who walked out of the demon realm, stepping on thousands of blood and bones. Holy Sun. As expected of the Holy Sun. Looking at Jun Haoyin's unparalleled posture, Feng Xiaoyao was shocked and excited. Back then he had chosen to follow Jun Haoyin because he saw Jun Haoyin's potential. Whether it was because he had a sacred body or because he was recognized by the Supreme Emperor technique. All these made Feng Xiaoyao feel that Jun Haoyin would definitely surpass Xiang Holy Sun in the future. However, this was only the future. What Feng Xiaoyao did not expect was that Jun Haoyin would grow so quickly. At this moment, Jun Haoyin had reached a height that he could only look up to. Haoyin, what should we do with the three of them? At this moment, Jun Moyo came to Jun Haoyin's side and pointed at Han Tianhe and the other two. At this moment, only Jun Moyo dared to be so close to Jun Haoyin. After hearing Jun Moyo's words, Jun Haoyin slowly turned around and looked at Han Tianhe and the other two indifferently. Everything that happened today was caused by the three of them. If it were not for Jun Haoyin's strength, the hundreds of Langya Holy Land disciples present today would have all died. Feeling Jun Haoyin's gaze on them, Han Tianhe and the other two only felt a chill run down their spines as if they were in hell. A terrifying murderous intent surrounded them as if it could destroy their physical bodies in the next moment. Facing this murderous intent, Han Tianhe and the other two did not dare to move at all. If they made the slightest move, Jun Haoyin would immediately kill them. Sacred. Holy Sun. We were wrong, we were wrong. Let us go, we are willing to submit to you. Feeling Jun Haoyin's gaze, the three of them trembled in fear. They had spent too much time and effort to cultivate to the Yuandan state. The stronger one was, the more they did not want to die. Especially the three of them who held high positions in the Langya Holy Land. This made them even more unwilling to die. Therefore, in order to live, they were willing to pay any price. As long as they lived, everything would be worth it. However, Jun Haoyin's expression did not change at all when he heard the three of them. Then he raised his hand slightly. In the next moment, Han Tianhe and the other two felt a terrifying aura descend on them. It was like a divine mountain, pressing down on them until they could not breathe. Their bodies felt like they were about to explode. Holy Sun, no. Han Tianhe screamed as his entire body trembled. Zhu Xiangshi and Hong Tao were the same. At this moment, their hearts were filled with regret. If they had known that Jun Haoyin was so perverted, they would not have dared to provoke Jun Haoyin. Unfortunately, there were no ifs in this world. In the next moment, Jun Haoyin clenched his fist slightly. Suddenly, a monstrous aura descended. Bang! With an explosion, Han Tianhe and the other two turned into a bloody mist and turned into ashes. Jun Haoyin threw out a gold emperor's sky-incinerating flame and burned the three of them to ashes. At this moment, all traces of Han Tianhe and the other two had disappeared. It was as if they did not exist in this world. Jun Haoyin killed the three of them as if they were ants. As the Holy Sun of the Langya Holy Land, once he confirmed that his disciples had committed a crime, he had the power to kill them. Even if they were true disciples, he could kill them first and report later. This was the power of the Holy Sun. Holy Sun, why don't you keep them alive and expose Xiang Holy Sun? At this moment, Feng Xiaoyao, Bailey Xuanzi, and the others came to Jun Haoyin's side. They looked at the bloody mist floating in the void and frowned. You think you can get rid of Wang Su with just these three people? You're underestimating him. Jun Haoyin said slowly, directly mentioning Xiang Holy Sun's name. Others were afraid of Xiang Holy Sun, but he was not afraid at all. Even if it's just to annoy Xiang Holy Sun, it's not a bad idea. Bailey Xuanzi said slowly. He knew that Han Tianhe and the other two could not defeat Xiang Holy Sun. There's no need for that. It's just a small matter. What I want is to kill them with one hit. Jun Haoyin shook his head and said coldly. Holy Son, the first true disciples of the four major forces, including the Qingyun Holy Land, have all died in your hands. If the four major forces continue to investigate, I'm afraid it will be troublesome. Dugu Bo said worriedly at this moment. After all, they were the first true disciples. They were very precious to the Holy Land. So what if they know? Upon hearing this, Jun Haoyin's expression did not change. He said coldly, even if the Holy Son of the three major Holy Lands were to gather, I'm not afraid of a fight between the younger generation. Jun Haoyin's tone was full of arrogance. He was not worried that the older generation martial artists would take action. In the Wuxian continent, there was an unwritten rule. It was a fight between the younger generation. The older generation was not to interfere. This was a tacit agreement between the Holy Lands. But, upon hearing this, Dugu Bo was still worried. The Holy Son of the four major forces was also extremely powerful. Especially the Holy Son of the Yaoguang Holy Land. He was second only to the Holy Son of the Kunlun Holy Land in the Eastern Wilderness. Even Xiang Holy Son was no match for him. If he were to take action, alright, if you're afraid of this and that, how can you improve your martial arts? Jun Haoyin said fearlessly. When he killed LV Haoran and the other first true disciples, he was already prepared to face challenges from the other Holy Son. Upon hearing Jun Haoyin's words, the few of them looked at each other and nodded slightly. They did not say anything else. In the following days, under the leadership of Jun Haoyin, all the disciples of the Langya Holy Land started to gather and hunt sky fiends. Jun Haoyin led Feng Xiaoyao and the others to hunt the powerful sky fiend kings. For the past 10 days they had been fighting a bloody battle. With Jun Haoyin's help, Feng Xiaoyao and the others gained quite a bit. After this, Bailey Xuanza and the others were confident that they could break through to the Imperial Dao realm in 3 to 5 years. Time flashed by and a few more days passed. On this day, it was finally time for the Sky Fiend region to close. Jun Haoyin led all the disciples of the Langya Holy Land to the exit of the Sky Fiend region. As for the other powers, they had their own entrances. This was the Outer Realm and it was too far away from the Wuxian continent. If they were left behind, even an Imperial Dao realm expert would not be able to obtain it. Only sempiternal realm experts were capable of traversing the outer space. So, when the time was up, they had to return. After Jun Haoyin and the others left, they did not take the initiative to speak about what had happened in the Sky Fiend region. As for Bailey Xuanza and Jun Moyo, who had gained a lot, they directly returned to the main peak to enter seclusion. The 7 Hall Masters did not ask about the situation of Han Tianhe and the others. As seniors, they did not care about the battles that had occurred in the Sky Fiend region. But at this moment, in front of the spatial passageways of the other 4 powers, the members of the Azure Cloud Holy Land, All Heaven Holy Land, Wavering Light Holy Land, and the Yin-Yang sect were furious. None of the first true disciples of the 4 powers had returned. Orders were issued one after another. They had to investigate this matter thoroughly. Chapter 143. Although the opening of the Sky Demon region had ended, various forces were still investigating what happened in the Sky Demon region. Qingyun Sacred Ground, Yaoguang Sacred Ground, Luotian Sacred Ground, and Yin-Yang sect were the top forces in the Wuxian continent. Soon, the truth of what happened in the Sky Demon region was revealed. Jun Haoyin's deeds in the Sky Demon region began to spread among the various sacred grounds. Qingyun Sacred Ground, Dongbo Divine Mountain. In the Sky Demon region, the top 4 true disciples besieged the new Holy Son of Langya Sacred Ground, Hao Tian, but they were killed by Hao Tian Holy Son. Interesting. A green figure stood on top of the mountain peak. Green lotuses bloomed beside the figure. Just by standing there, the true vitality vibrated. From afar, it was as if a terrifying being had descended from the sky. The figure lifted his head slowly. Divine light shone in his dark eyes. It was breathtaking. The figure was the Holy Son of Qingyun's Sacred Ground, Long Dong Bo. This is the news from the various palace masters. It shouldn't be wrong. In the Sky Demon region, other than Langya Sacred Ground, the other 4 top forces suffered a great loss. All of this was caused by the so-called Holy Son of Hao Tian. Behind Long Dong Bo, a young man with a terrifying aura and wearing the uniform of a true disciple of the Qingyun Sacred Ground knelt down and said. This young man held an important position in the main palace of the Qingyun Sacred Ground. When he received the news, he came to report it to Dong Bo Holy Son. Yuan Dan became the Holy Son when he was only at level 7. He even killed the top 4 true disciples. He's an interesting person. I wonder what his true strength is like. Long Dong Bo turned around and put his hands behind his back. There was a hint of mockery in his eyes. As he spoke, the saint child Dong Bo treated this matter as an amusing matter and brushed it off with a smile. He did not take the holy son of Hao Tian seriously at all. After all, the top true disciple of the top 4 forces was nothing in his eyes. He was just an ant. An existence that defeated an ant was still an ant. Naturally, he didn't care about it at all. To him, only Ziyang Holy Sun was worthy of his attention in the Holy Land of Langya. Of course, if he saw Jun Haoyin in the future, Long Dongbo would not mind killing him. Since he had a saint body, his achievements in the future would not be weaker than his. And he, Long Dongbo, loved to kill geniuses the most. At the same time, in a majestic hall in the Luotian Holy Land, a burly figure wrapped in raging flames stood in the middle of the hall, looking majestic and extraordinary. The flaming figure was clad in crimson armor, making him look like a god of war. This figure was the second holy son of Luotian Holy Land, the holy son of raging flames Zhuozhongtang. Holy son, this is what happened. Senior brother Luo died at the hands of the holy son of Haotian. At this moment, in front of Zhuozhongtang, a true disciple was reporting. When he heard the disciple's report, a trace of crimson flames flashed in Zhuozhongtang's eyes, and his entire body emitted a strong battle intent. I originally thought that Ziyang Holy Son of Langya was the Holy Son of Luo Tian, but I didn't expect there to be another Holy Son of Haotian. Zhuozhongtang snorted coldly, Haotian Holy Son of Haotian, this Jun Haotian is really arrogant. As he spoke, Zhuozhongtang played with a crimson ring in his hand. The ring emitted a monstrous pressure from time to time. It was a supreme-grade magic artifact spatial ring. Holy Son of Haotian is just a beginner Holy Son. How can he be compared to you, Holy Son? A true disciple in front of Zhuozhongtang said respectfully. He is indeed not qualified for my attention now. Once he breaks through to the Imperial Dao realm, I will personally challenge him. Zhuozhongtang said indifferently when he heard this. Even though Jun Haoyin was the Holy Son of Langya and had the same status as him, but a mere cultivation at the 7th level of the Origin Core stage wasn't able to enter his eyes. Not to mention the other Holy Son of the human Holy Lands, even the Taoist of the Yin-Yang sect had reached the Imperial Dao realm. Jun Haoyin was only at the Yuandan realm. A peerless genius with a holy physique? Anyone who could become a Holy Son was a peerless genius. Paying too much attention to a cultivator at the Yuandan realm was really beneath his status. Wavering Light Sacred Land, Wavering Light Divine Peak. A white-clothed youth sat at the head of the hall in an incomparably grand hall. The white-robed young man had a lazy expression on his face. His peerlessly handsome face was so handsome that even women could not help but feel jealous when they saw it. This youth was the Holy Son of the Wavering Light Sacred Land, the Holy Son of the Wavering Light Sacred Land, Li Xiaoyao. Li Xiaoyao's status in the Wavering Light Sacred Land was evident from the fact that he had the title of Wavering Light Sacred Land. Among the younger generation in the entire Eastern Wilderness, Li Xiaoyao was ranked in the top 3. Lord Holy Son, you said you didn't know that my brother was your confidant. Before beating a dog you have to look at its master. That Hao Tian Holy Son killed my brother just like that. He didn't give you any face at all. At this moment, a youth in front of the Wavering Light Holy Son said with a vengeful expression. The youth's name was Fang Shilong, and he was the younger brother of the Wavering Light Sacred Land's #1 disciple, Fang Xiu. Fang Shilong was extremely saddened by the death of his brother. However, he knew that he was no match for the Holy Son of Hao Tian. He had no choice but to ask the Wavering Light Holy Son for help. He's just an ant. He's not worthy of my attention. A mountain can't have 2 tigers. This is the Holy Son of Hao Tian. The Ziyang Holy Son will naturally take care of him. The Holy Son of the Wavering Light narrowed his eyes. He did not even bat an eyelid. The Holy Son of the Wavering Light Sacred Ground had a powerful background. Ever since he was born, the higher-ups of the Wavering Light Sacred Ground had named him the Holy Son of the Wavering Light Sacred Ground. He had cultivated with countless treasures since he was young. Now no one knew how powerful he was. He had never even looked at the Ziyang Holy Son in the eye. He only took the Holy Son of Kunlun seriously. But Fang Shilong still wanted to say something. After all, his brother had died at the hands of Jun Haotian. Don't worry. You and your brother have always been loyal to me. I will avenge you. If the Holy Son of Hao Tian didn't die at the hands of the Ziyang Holy Son, I will find some time to go to the Langya Sacred Ground and kill him. The wavering light Holy Sun said lightly when he saw that Fang Shilong was about to say something. Although his words were calm, they were extremely arrogant. In his eyes, Jun Haoyin was just an ant that he could kill casually. However, Fang Shilong believed the wavering light Holy Sun's words without a doubt. With the wavering light Holy Sun's strength, no one thought he was arrogant when he said such words. Anyway, they thought it was normal. After the incident in the Sky Demon region spread to the top forces, all the prodigies in the eastern wilderness began to know about Jun Haoyin. This was the first time that Jun Haoyin had walked into the eyes of these prodigies. However, that was all. The holy sun of the top forces had been famous for decades. They had all fought for it with their own strength. They were very famous. As for Jun Haoyin, although he had a holy body, at the moment he was only at the 7th level of Yuan Dan state. He could not be compared with the holy sun of the other sacred grounds. However, because of Jun Haoyin's appearance, the top forces that had not fought for many years began to be restless. It was as if a storm was about to come. However, Jun Haoyin did not know about all this. At this moment, Lengyu's sacred ground, Haoyin Godly Peak. Jun Haoyin sat cross-legged in the temple of Haoyin with a solemn expression. Wisps of cold aura surrounded his body, and golden blood qi circled around him. At this moment, Jun Haoyin's cultivation had reached the peak of the 8th level of Yuan Dan state. Moreover, he had reached the peak in all aspects. However, if he wanted to break through, he would need a period of accumulation. Thinking of this, Jun Haoyin's heart moved, and the exquisite pagoda floated in front of him. In the Sky Demon region, Jun Haoyin had killed countless sky demons. All the demonic essence he had collected was stored in the exquisite pagoda. At this moment, the exquisite pagoda contained more than 500,000 demonic essence. Such a huge amount of demonic essence could be said to be shocking. At this moment, Jun Haoyin was prepared to use this batch of demonic essence. He would push his cultivation to the 10th level of Yuan Dan state in one go. And Jun Haoyin was going to use this energy. If he had the chance, he was prepared to break through to the Imperial Dao state in one go. However, Jun Haoyin knew in his heart that it was not so easy to break through to the Imperial Dao state. Who knew how many talented people in the world had stopped here? Without any hesitation, Jun Haoyin directly opened the exquisite pagoda. Boom. In an instant, endless demonic essence rumbled. Jun Haoyin immediately felt as if countless sky demons were wreaking havoc in his mind. These were the remnant thoughts of the sky demons. There were still many remnant thoughts of the sky demons in this demonic essence. Therefore, if he wanted to absorb this demonic essence, he had to do it step by step. Moreover, this batch of demonic essence that Jun Haoyin had stored, it contained 500,000 sky demons' remnant thoughts. Not to mention ordinary cultivators, even geniuses could only refine 100 strands of demonic essence at most. However, Jun Haoyin clearly didn't intend to do that. With a single command in his heart, he directly activated the heaven-gorging demonic technique to its limits. In the next moment, a devil exalt that had 3,000 devil hands and 3,000 devil eyes slowly appeared behind Jun Haoyin. Under Jun Haoyin's control, the peerless devil exalt opened its bloody mouth and directly swallowed the 500,000 strands of demonic essence. If Jun Haoyin's insane actions were to be seen by others, even an Imperial Dao realm expert would laugh coldly upon seeing this. You're courting death. But it just so happened that Jun Haoyin had done it. Right when Jun Haoyin swallowed all the demonic essence, numerous violent and chaotic sky demons' remnant thoughts had started to wreak havoc in his mind. Even though these sky demons' remnant thoughts weren't very strong, there were an entire 500,000 strands of them. When added together, it was sufficient to reach a terrifying level. If it was anyone else, that person would have probably been transformed into an idiot by the first wave of attack from these sky demons' remnant thoughts. However, Jun Haoyin wasn't afraid at all, and he allowed these sky demons' remnant thoughts to wreak havoc in his mind. Right at this moment, boundless divine light suddenly erupted from within Jun Haoyin's soul realm. He directly circulated the indestructible God body, the secret character of all, and the sovereign's descent. The Fiend God technique, Yin-Yang Nirvana technique, and various other divine abilities appeared successively as well. Even though Jun Haoyin's mind was filled with dense demonic essence. But at this moment, his soul had become extremely strong under the enhancement of these terrifying divine abilities and secret techniques, and his mind even emanated intense golden light. Every single strand of golden light was extremely dazzling like a brilliant sun. The sky demon's remnant thoughts that carried an extremely evil aura instantly broke down layer by layer upon being illuminated by the golden light, and they transformed into strands of pure energy. To Jun Haoyan's divine soul, these sky demons' remnant thoughts were like ants that could be easily obliterated. As the sky demons' remnant thoughts were annihilated by Jun Haoyan, the demonic essence directly transformed into extremely pure energy that was injected into Jun Haoyan's body. With a thought, Jun Haoyan transported these energies to all parts of his body, and then began to circulate them according to the method of the indestructible God body. This supreme body cultivation technique was also activated to the extreme by Jun Haoyan at this moment. The second part of the indestructible God body was to deify the 5 million pores. Once completed, Jun Haoyan's body would be comparable to a high-grade magic weapon. With such a powerful body, he would probably be able to kill an immemorial celestial dragon. Just like this, Jun Haoyan continued to absorb the energy within. The 5 million pores on his body also began to deify rapidly. Every moment, tens of thousands of pores were deified. But at this moment, Jun Haoyan suddenly felt a slight change in the demonic heaven-devouring technique that he cultivated. The supreme demon venerable shadow that had condensed behind him began to riot. The 3,000 demon eyes shot out a supreme divine light that seemed to be able to see through everything. The 3,000 demon hands continued to grow, and each hand could cover the sky. It was also at this moment that one world after another suddenly appeared in the hands of the 3,000 demon hands. It was like a peerless demon venerable holding 3,000 great worlds in his hands. The 3,000 demon eyes stared at every corner of the 3,000 great worlds. It was like a supreme judge. The demonic heaven-devouring technique had undergone a complete transformation. Jun Haoyan knew from the beginning that this divine ability could transform and evolve. It was just that he did not expect this evolution to come so quickly. This divine ability should still have room for evolution. At the same time, the true essence in Jun Haoyan's body began to surge crazily. Jun Haoyan only felt the giant elephant seed in his body awaken crazily. In addition, in his dantian the Yuan Dan was emitting rays of divine light. 8 heaven and earth veins were shining brightly, as if they were engraved with the principles of heaven and earth and were describing heaven and earth. And beside these 8 heaven and earth veins, the 9th heaven and earth vein was slowly being born. Absorbing the devil essence had already allowed Jun Haoyan's cultivation to begin to break through. Just in time. Feeling that his cultivation was about to break through, Jun Haoyan did not hesitate much. He injected all kinds of divine abilities into his dantian and turned them into nourishment. The golden qi and blood were cast into a furnace, and on top of the furnace was a Yuan Dan that was being refined. A powerful aura constantly burst out from Jun Haoyan's body. It seemed that his entire person was about to be deified. 500,000 devil essence turned into a storm and continuously poured into the Yuan Dan. Finally, the 9th heaven and earth vein was formed, Yuan Dan level 9. But it was still not over. At this moment, the 10th heaven and earth vein was formed, Yuan Dan level 10. At this moment, Jun Haoyan directly broke through to Yuan Dan level 10. He directly jumped 2 levels. At the same time, the giant elephant seeds in Jun Haoyan's body began to awaken under the endless power. 120,000, 130,000, 140,000, 150,000, 160,000, 170,000, 180,000, 190,000, 200,000. This was no longer a simple awakening of a few hundred or a few thousand giant elephant seeds. It was the awakening of 10,000 giant elephant seeds. The improvement brought to Jun Haoyan was incomparably terrifying. One had to know that when the giant elephant seeds in his body awakened to 840,000, that was the completion of the second level of the divine elephant overpowering divine elephant. Although there was still some distance between him and this level. But there was no doubt that Jun Haoyan's strength was increasing crazily. If it were anyone else, they would not be able to reach this level. As time passed, Jun Haoyan's true essence continued to skyrocket. The number of mythical pores in his body also increased. It could be said that this trip to the celestial devil region had brought him a terrifying harvest. Unfortunately, the devil essence could only affect cultivators below the imperial Dao realm. Otherwise, with Jun Haoyan's strength of the hell-crushing divine elephant and the heaven-devouring demonic art, the speed at which he improved when hunting heaven devils in the future would probably shock everyone. However, he didn't mind. As he continued to grow stronger. As he grew stronger, he would naturally have more and more methods to improve his cultivation in the future. Just like that, 7 days passed. The giant elephant seeds in Jun Haoyan's body had reached 250,000. If he broke through again, he would reach 300,000. Jun Haoyin was now standing at the peak of Yuandan level 10. If he broke through again he would be in the Imperial Dao realm. However, to his surprise, he still had more than 200,000 strands of devil essence in his body. If he injected this devil essence into the Yuandan, would he be able to directly break through to the Imperial Dao realm? Thinking of this, Jun Haoyin's eyes couldn't help but light up. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.